Welcome back to the Harland Podcast, and today we have a special guest. His name is Tyler Mitchell, and he is a decently popular steelbook collector slash just like a good representative of fans of media. I'd say someone that you can watch. It's like a similar, like a good general opinion, and someone that makes really interesting content, and a lot of people watch him, and a lot of people like him. So thank you for joining us today. It's really appreciated.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for that intro. I'm actually pretty excited about this because as I messaged you, I've never had anybody have me on their podcast or anything like that. So this is really cool for me, and yeah, looking forward to it.
That's sick. I'm happy to have you here. So I'm still surprised no one's ever asked you, because I thought that a lot of people would have had asked you, especially over with there being so little to do for some people nowadays. There's so many more podcasts, and especially on the same, like, similar to me.
Yeah, I know. Like everybody nowadays has a podcast, and I'm actually a big fan of podcasts. Like I listen to them all the time, whether I'm like, in the gym or or just anywhere in the car. So like to be on one is pretty interesting. Um, so yeah, and your name's Harland, right? As like
Yeah,
it's kind of weird because you messaged me and I'm like, oh, this okay, interesting podcast. So I go to look it up and it's legit because at first I thought it was like a phony thing. I'm like, somebody really wants me on their podcast. I don't know. So yeah, I searched you up and yeah, it's legit. And I'm like, okay, so this is cool. This is a really cool way to like collaborate and I'm gonna obviously post about this on my YouTube and let people listen to it and stuff. So it's good exposure for the both of us.
yeah, for sure. And there's always like, I always wanted to have someone that is one of the more popular people when it comes to collecting things. 'Cause I'm a huge like appreciator of physical media and memorabilia, and like supporting like things that you love in our more pop culture uh aspect of life. And I always want to talk to other people that do it at a higher level, because you do it at a way higher level than me, in terms of like your very impressive collection, and the support that you show to the people that you support. And I always want to talk about that with people that have been doing that for a lot longer than me. I've only been doing it for like 3 years,
Right.
and I always
Yeah.
find it really
It's kind
interesting.
of crazy though, like the way it is now, because when I started the channel, I mean, I've been on YouTube for like a super long time actually. Like I made my first channel in like 2007. And I didn't start doing videos, on a frequent basis like I am now until like I think it was 2015. But like I'd always been, watching people unbox things or do collection videos, and I always enjoyed those kind of things. So I was like, one day I was just like, maybe I should try it. And yeah, it just eventually, organically it grew over time, and I recently hit 10,000 subscribers, which I think is, it's unbelievable to me. Like 10,000 people think I'm somehow, but it's cool, And yeah, I love physical media. I've been collecting DVDs, Blu-rays, and all that stuff basically my whole life. I even still have a VHS collection. Yeah, it's just a really cool thing.
Well, congratulations on your recent milestone. I seen that
Thank you.
10K. And yeah, I've been sub for a while, and I always enjoy unboxings, but I always enjoy yours because I feel like you go into more detail than a lot of people. A little bit of longer videos that are a little bit more interesting, because you get um you do the videos on the steelbooks that are way more expensive and out of my reach for steelbooks that I can get. So it's always nice to be able to see those steelbooks and hear your thoughts on them, so I can, in
Right.
the future, if I want to get one that is that expensive, I know which one to get, and not go for one that might be disappointing. Like, in terms of like, maybe I like the move, like these two movies at the same, and maybe I just want the more interesting steel, but I've never seen either one, and I can watch your
Yeah.
unboxing video outside that way, right? So I think those are
Yeah, and what's
great.
great about the videos, yeah, what's great about the videos too is like, back in the day when I was watching unboxings all the time, I didn't have a job at the time. Like I was way younger and I didn't have any money. So I'd like, oh, one day I want to get that. One day I want to get that, Even nowadays, I have money, but it's not like I want to buy every steelbook. Like certain movies I'll just pass on the steelbook, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I don't think it looks that good. Like the new Jaws 4K they're making, the steelbook in my opinion looks so plain and kind of lazy. So I'm just getting the regular slipcover that's lenticular, and I already pre-ordered it. So yeah,
I might do the same actually for that Jaw for the new Jaws, just because I have like a bunch of those horror lenticulars that just came out. So now I want it like any classic horror film that comes out with a lenticular. Now I'm just gonna hop on because I'm
yeah,
starting a little bit of my own like collection that way. But yeah, I also agree with the artwork. Everyone that I've talked to or seen talking about it doesn't seem to like it. There's a few, but most people like the older steelbook that's already out. So, what are your
yeah.
thoughts on that one?
Certain older releases, like for example, in my opinion, like the way Disney is handling their new Marvel steelbooks and their new Pixar steelbooks. I actually kind of like the Pixar ones because they're cartoonish, but the Marvel ones, in my opinion, they're kind of lazy. I know about a few of the newer ones, just because to have for example, Iron Man 3 never had a steelbook, so I went ahead and got that. But they're all like very uniform and kind of plain. I mean, there's nothing wrong with uniformity, but you know, older designs are somewhat better. I don't know. Sometimes they'll just make a new steelbook for something and it doesn't look as good as the older one. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I also agree with the whole uniform thing. Like, I get why people like it. I know a lot of people like to have like the collection of movies that are like made in a series. But I've never had a problem of having like my Pixar's. I have a bunch of the original releases. I didn't feel like I needed to get the new covers and stuff. And
Yeah,
same with my DreamWorks. I never really had that problem. But like a lot of companies, bigger companies have been doing that a lot. Or like DreamWorks releases like a new series of their whole Blu-rays every like 2 months at this point.
yeah. Like they released those new, like the new Shrek complete set and the Madagascar complete set for like really cheap. I'm like, I wish I could have had those back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny nowadays. Like there's so much. It's so easy to get access to everything now. Like back in the day, I would have to watch TV, just regular cable versions of certain movies because you couldn't. There's no such thing as streaming services, or if you're lucky enough to own a movie, that's all you had. You didn't really, you couldn't watch everything. Nowadays, you can watch pretty much anything anywhere. It's just like one click away. So
Yeah, that's like it's really true because I can remember even just recently when I was just a kid, I used to watch the same like four movies over and over again for years before this whole stream servicing thing really
mhm.
hit the world the way that it has and made it a lot easier to connect to different films and different shows that you want to watch. Back in the day, it used to be like I'd watch maybe the same four movies like Scooby Doo and uh, 8 Mile because everyone had 8 Mile at one point. I
Oh
feel.
yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah, for sure. I remember the first time I watched that movie, but now it's like just I can look over and I can go through my PlayStation right now. There's 3, 4 different services I can use, or I can,
Yeah.
you know,
I
and
think it's
movies
like
are a lot
it's
cheaper.
yeah, it's sort of like a loss. Like there's sort of a charm to like back in the day. Oh, I got to catch this movie at this time on this channel, and I got to sit through the commercials. But honestly, I can't remember the last time I've done that because you can just find the movie anywhere else and watch it, flawlessly in HD and no problem. But yeah,
Well, yeah, we don't even have cable anymore, so like,
right.
I only use my PlayStation anyway, so I pretty much just watch Netflix or what I get in my collection, which is why I tend to, which is the whole reason I started buying so many movies in the first place. But
Right.
but yeah, I'd ask, when did you know like you became like a really big fan of film? Because um, I'm a really big film guy. That's the first in my collection. When did you know that you love film as much as you do? Because there's so many, I feel like people that don't care about film in the way that a lot of people like us.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like well, not to say I'm like ashamed of being a movie collector, but like if I were to go around and just tell people, "Hey, I got a huge movie collection," they'll find it kind of weird. They'll be like, "Do you still buy movies?" People don't understand, certain people don't
Oh
understand
yeah,
like
for sure.
the appeal of collecting and having things in a collectible package and higher quality and all that stuff. But it's just it's just been with me my whole life, so I've always been a collector. But in terms of being like a fan of film, it's actually kind of funny. I've liked movies my whole life, but it really started when I was probably maybe middle school, and I actually got into horror movies. Like that was the first thing I really got into. I don't know what it was. I think, I always talk about the first time I discovered Chucky because I'm a huge Chucky fan, right?
Me too. That's what I
I
used to
Yeah,
love.
I actually first watched all the Chucky movies when I was in fifth grade, believe it or not, and I don't know how old I was.
Really.
How old you are in tenth? I think like 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that. Um, but I love the idea of like there's a character and this whole series of characters, and it's a series of movies with continuity between them, and the story continues in the next film and then the next film. And Chucky's been rebooted at this point like twice. Bride of Chucky was sort of a reboot. The new Chucky movies are sort of a reboot also. But I just found that interesting, and I got into like Michael Myers and Jason and all that stuff, all those franchises. And then after that, I was like, I like this idea of having, all these films connected, and I discovered other film series, and just sort of just it kind of just spawned from horror movies. So I've always had like a huge respect for horror movies, because honestly, that's where it started for me. But yeah, I just really, I've always loved movies, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that it's weird because almost everyone else I know is very similar when it comes to like horror films. Everyone that I know that loves movies, except for me, pretty much loved horror movies. Was like the first thing that they fell in love with when it comes to film. With me, I never appreciated horror films until I had to watch one of those really, really eerie, artsy ones to really like start wanting to watch them like crazy. And then I
Which
went
one?
back and watched all the classic ones. Oh,
Yeah, which
the
one would
first
you say
one,
is artsy? Yeah.
I would say I'd say it was It Follows for me. Was the first kind of
Oh yeah,
artsy one that
yeah. I want to
really
see that.
got
I
to
actually
me.
haven't seen it. Yeah, I need to see that.
Ooh, I won't spoil any of it then because it's really, really good. It's personally one of my favorite films ever. And
Okay.
I remember watching it and just being like, I love movies that I can't stop thinking about. And I couldn't stop thinking about It Follows, and I couldn't stop thinking about everything and trying to trying to reanalyze it over and over and over again. And I was like, maybe I should watch more horror films because that one was good. And then I watched like Babadook, and I watched and eventually Get Out came out, and I watched that,
Hmm.
which I love both of those. And then I went back and watched the Scream films for the first time, and I love, love, love Scream. Scream is now my favorite horror film,
Yeah.
and I watched like the Friday the 13th ones like you, and I was always a big fan of. There was only one Child's Play. Sorry, there was only one horror series I was a fan of, and it was Child's Play.
Right.
Just because for some reason, I watched it when I was like 6 years old. My mom and my sister, and I loved it. Just for some reason, I fell in love with it because it was, it's the only horror series back then that I watched that was like not just horror, but it was really blend comedy well within the horror aspect of it as well. So I feel like as a kid that I really enjoyed and was less scared than I would have been in any other horror
Right.
film for the most part.
If you want some good artsy horror, though, I don't know if you're a fan of A24, because I always,
Oh, I
whenever I
love
bring A24,
A24.
yeah, have you watched Hereditary and
Yes,
Midsummer and The Witch? Oh my God, I love those. Ah, they're so good.
I've never seen The Witch, but I've seen the other two.
Yeah. Oh, and The Lighthouse, I guess, is sort of a horror movie in a
Oh,
way.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
Lighthouse was filmed in my town actually.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Where do you live, if you don't mind saying?
Well,
If it's really.
I live in, well, most people that watch already know. So I live in
Oh, okay.
Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy. They came down and filmed, and uh, it was the craziest thing ever. The whole town went nuts because you probably already heard that it was filmed in a really, really small town. I live in that really, really, really small town and with the
Yeah.
most famous lighthouse in the province, and that's where they filmed the movie because of that.
Oh, okay. So have you seen
And
that lighthouse in person, like,
oh
or at a
yeah,
distance? Oh, wow.
oh, I've
That's
been to it
cool.
all the time. It's everyone in this town's been to that as a kid. Like it's a place that everyone visits all the time. It's not a big
Oh,
deal to us, but then when we found out, yeah.
so you've been in that lighthouse even before they filmed in there.
Oh, I don't think I've ever been in the lighthouse, but I've been like right next to it. I have photos of me as a kid in like this big yellow chair that used to be right in front of it.
Wow, that's really cool, actually.
It is.
For something
I
else, yeah.
mean, and my friend met the art or a designer that worked for the film that created the seagull and got to talk to her about it, which is really interesting.
Oh, the seagull that gets. Well, I don't want to give any
Yeah,
spoilers, but yeah, I know what you
yeah, yeah.
mean.
You know what seagull
It's a
what I'm
very
talking
satisfying
about.
scene. Yeah, very satisfying.
It is very satisfying. But
Yeah,
yes, I loved Lighthouse, and I know that Lighthouse is an acquired taste. Pretty, it's about as acquired as it gets because
yeah.
a lot of people down here went to go see it and was completely caught off guard when they watched it. I knew exactly what to expect, which was to expect nothing because it's going to be something I've never seen before, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what Lighthouse was. And Hereditary, I didn't like as much as everyone else, but I did
Okay.
really like Midsummer. And
Yeah.
I actually have both Midsummer and Hereditary. I'm gonna rewatch Hereditary because I feel like I didn't give it a good enough chance the first time. But
The thing with Hereditary though, you gotta all right. The way you gotta watch it though, you gotta watch it alone in the dark at nighttime, and it's gonna mess with you. Because that's when I first watched it, and I'm telling you, oh, I've never had a movie mess with me like so bad before. You know what I mean?
yeah, I really wish I watched that movie by myself because I have this hard time of paying attention when I'm watching a movie with someone else if they don't, well, if they're not into it as much as I am.
Yeah.
So I watch it with my girlfriend, and she's completely against like artsy, slow films and stuff like Hereditary. So I kind of knew 10 minutes into it that that I should just give it another chance another time, which is what I'm planning on doing soon.
Yeah. And you got to watch The Witch because Robert Eggers, the director, he did The Lighthouse, and I already watched The Witch beforehand, and that's an artsy movie, so I was expecting. But The Witch is really well done. Like it's very authentic. It's very like you really feel like it's a real thing. Like it's very supernatural, but it just feels like really authentic. I don't know. It's really well done. It's on Netflix, so.
Oh, I've heard incredible things about it. It's not on our Netflix anymore, but
Oh yeah, I
oh
forgot they got different stuff on. Yeah, they got. I
yeah,
forgot about that.
it was on here at one point, but they took it off randomly. I didn't check the updates to watch it in time. So, but I've been trying to buy the Steelbook off Amazon. It goes on sale every once in a while for like $20, which I think is really good. So one of these times I'm gonna get it. One of these times it's on sale, and I'm gonna watch it right when it gets in. But
Yeah.
till then, I don't really have much of a opportunity unless I rent it one night, which I might.
Right. Yeah. And you just reminded me too. My next video is actually going to be the Funko Pop of there's a character in The Witch. It's actually a goat, but there's kind of a twist with the goat. I don't want to give it away. And they actually made a pop out of it. I can't believe it because once you see the movie, you'll be like, I can't believe they actually made a toy of that thing. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Oh, I can't wait till I watch it. I've been trying to watch everything like that. I've actually been on a bit of an A24 marathon. Accidentally, I watched Mississippi Grind, Leggies, and Barely Lethal in 3 days, though realizing they were all A24 movies.
Oh
But
yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen those,
But
but I gotta say, my crown jewel right now is Uncut Gems. Please tell me you like Uncut Gems.
well,
Yeah.
Uncut Gems. First of all, it is amazing. I loved everything
Yes.
about it. I wouldn't give it my favorite A24 movie, but it's
Hmm.
one of my top 10 for sure. I've watched a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen like 38 now or 40 by now.
Oh,
But
you
there's
got
still
me
so much
beat.
more to
Wow.
see.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Oh, ever since I discovered A24, I went crazy with their movies a couple years ago. Actually, Moonlight
Yeah.
was the movie that made me fall in love with film, believe it or not. So
Oh
I've
yeah.
been
Okay.
going crazy ever since.
Yeah, Moonlight was a
But
really good movie. I'm so happy that won Best Picture because it was very well
me
done. And
too.
that also kind
It,
of exposed me to A24. Yeah.
like it was definitely, I wouldn't say it's the main thing that launched A24. It was the only thing that launched A24 because I watched an A24 movie before Moonlight that I didn't even realize was an A24 movie that I really liked, which was Spectacular Now. That's another
Hmm.
really, really, really good one that a lot of people don't give a lot of credit to. But the only reason I would say Uncut Gems isn't one of my favorites was because even though it's incredible, there's just a couple more that I feel like are just even better, like Good Time
Oh yeah.
and
Oh,
Moonlight
I
are my top
love
two,
Good
I
Time.
think.
Oh man, I love Good Time.
Oh,
Oh,
I couldn't.
so
I didn't even think it was going to be nearly as good when I went into it,
yeah.
and I love it so much. Even my
The
mom
character,
liked it. I was
yeah.
so shocked.
The character Ray in that movie, he's such a scumbag, but I can't, he's like one of the best characters in anything. Like he was
Oh
making me
yeah,
laugh out loud. Yeah. Oh my God. So good.
and Pattinson's performance. Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
lord, it was
Oscar worthy. Yeah.
incredible. Definitely
I'm
Oscar.
excited
I'm
for him as the
surprised he
Batman.
didn't get.
Yeah.
I am so excited for him as Batman. I had to convince so many people to be like, listen, you may not, you may have only seen him in Twilight, but trust me, this guy is a talented actor. I don't think a lot of people give him credit because they haven't watched enough of his good films because he's done so much indie now, so a lot of people haven't heard of it. But
Hmm.
he's an incredible actor. I mean, I feel like at this point,
Yeah, like his
just good time
accent.
alone is enough.
Yeah, like his different accents, like even in the Lighthouse, he can pull off an accent from that era and that, that region of, wherever they were. Well, where does the Lighthouse take place actually? Does it take place there in real life in the same area? I don't even remember, but
I don't remember exactly where it I don't think it does. I thought it took place in like I don't. I remember reading about it before I even knew it was going to be filmed down here, and it was taking place in. But I thought it was like. I keep wanting to say London, but I don't think it's that. But I don't think it was down here. I know it wasn't like the specific town they actually. It wasn't this town they actually filmed it in, or Halifax where they filmed part of it in. So, but it might have been around this area.
yeah. But yeah, he can just transform because his regular voice.
Oh,
He's got a British accent. He just sounds like a normal dude. But like Good Time, that voice he had was it
oh, that was incredible.
was.
Oh, him and Daniel Kaluuya is another fantastic actor when it comes to accents. Because
Yeah.
if you've ever heard his real voice and you hear him in Get Out, two completely different people.
Yeah, there's
I
something about
genuinely
British
believe that's how his
accents.
voice was.
English
Really,
actors, they can really pull off different accents. Yeah. Um,
they really can.
yeah.
Um, so since you just said that horror was the thing that made you really, really, really love film, and I'm assuming like Child's Play is like your favorite. Other than Child's Play, what is your favorite horror film? Or let's say, what is your favorite solo horror film? Like a movie that was made and never got a sequel or reboot or anything, which is like a one solo horror film that you loved.
Oh, okay. So, believe it or not, actually, I don't really put the Chucky movies in like my top favorites of all time, even though I love them and I got nostalgia like crazy for them. But in terms of like, because I did a top 30 favorite movies like video series, and the only horror movies that were in there were Silence of the Lambs, if you count that as a horror movie, and Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. It was a tie. But Evil Dead 2 is like arguably the best horror movie. Like, well, it's horror comedy, but it's so well done. All the different special effects and, Bruce Campbell, and Silence of the Lambs obviously is a masterpiece. I was watching it the other day. I can watch that movie anytime. It's so good. But yeah, those two probably, I think I have Silence of the Lambs higher. Yeah, I definitely do. If you count that as a horror, it's more of like a thriller, sort of detective movie. But Anthony Hopkins is Hannibal Lecter. It's a horror movie. What am I saying? Yeah, it's Silence of the Lambs for sure.
See, I've never actually seen Silence of the Lambs. I've been
Oh,
trying. I want to. I really, really want
so
to,
good. Yeah.
but I don't want to buy it before I have the money to buy the Criterion. Because I
Oh
want
yeah.
to. I really, really want to buy the Criterion. So I don't want to buy any other version and
Yeah,
then never
the
buy the
Criterion's
Criterion.
really good. Yeah. Do they have Barnes and Noble where you were at? Because they have the
No,
Criterion now. Oh, they don't. Ah, that's where you gotta buy
no,
Criterions. They always have a half off
I
sale
know.
this year. Yeah.
I hear about it every single time, and then I always remember, oh, that's not for me. Even though I can go online and get them, the shipping is. Eek.
Uh-huh.
But one day I'm gonna buy it. Just there's gonna be one day where I don't want to get anything else, and then I'm just gonna buy it, and then I'm finally gonna be able to watch it. But until then, I have to try my hardest not to pick up the other version. Like
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but if it comes in like a streaming service, I'll probably watch. That's what happened with Seven. It took me forever to watch that because I wanted to get
Oh,
the Steelbook, and then it was on Netflix, and I watched it, and it is I didn't think there was gonna be another movie that could sneak its way into my top 10 and snuck its way into my top 5 somehow.
oh,
So
talk about a movie I could gush about. Oh man, Seven is like I love David Fincher. He's like definitely my top five directors. But Seven did something to me when I first watched it. Like I was blown away by that movie.
oh, same here. And I think the craziest part of Seven is I've seen so many like of shows and films that are inspired by like the ideas that Seven faces, and still watching Seven after all those for the first time, it felt so fresh and different. It felt like
Yeah,
it stood out from all of them. That's how well made that movie is you can watch The Mind Hunters, you can watch, any detective thriller about a serial killer that is psychologically, terrorizing police officers and getting off of it psychologically. And there's so many films inspired by Seven nowadays, and you can watch all of them, but they'll never feel like Seven does, even if you
oh
watch
yeah,
Seven after all of them for the first time.
yeah. Brad
And I
Pitt and
know
Morgan
because
Freeman.
that's what happened with me.
Yeah, they had a great chemistry in that movie, and it was like a really good
Oh, they're
film
both
noir
fantastic.
also. Yeah, and Kevin Spacey was terrifying. Kevin Spacey's not so doing so well these days, but I still love Seven no matter what. Yeah. Trying to think actually. My favorite David Fincher movie.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Technical difficulties. Ugh. This is the
Yeah, it's
only
all good.
problem
You
I
can
have.
fit it back together, right?
Oh, yeah, I can. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Just
Yeah, we
making
can pretty
sure.
much just left. It happens
I've had
sometimes.
instances where, yeah, I've had instances where I filmed stuff and then realized footage ended up getting corrupted or lost or just the camera
Ooh,
wasn't rolling. Yeah,
that hurts. I just
yeah,
started doing video reviews, and I was editing a video one night, and then just halfway through it loading, the app just crashed. Luckily, like the project was saved, but I almost had a heart attack, and I was like, "Phew, what just happened?"
yeah. That too. Yeah.
But what were we just? I think you were just talking about Evil Dead 2 and Silence of the Lambs. Oh, no, we were just talking about Seven.
Yeah, Seven. Yeah. Um, yeah, I was pretty much going on about like Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman's chemistry was like really good, and those are two actors that I don't think they've ever been in anything again with each other, and just that one movie alone, they were fantastic, and I was gushing about the movie's like a film noir, and it's really well made and dark and creepy, and Kevin Spacey is creepy in real life.
Yes, yeah,
But yeah, great movie. Yeah,
yeah. No, Seven is just incredible. Like I don't. There's not too much you could say about Seven that I think like everyone else hasn't already said because it's one of those movies that's pretty well appreciated. So, um, but yeah, see like I see like unlike Seven, I haven't seen like a lot of the classical like big horror or thriller movies, which is why I haven't seen like Evil Dead 2. Even though I've seen Evil Dead, I never watched Evil Dead 2 yet, and I haven't seen which is crazy because I watched Ash vs Evil Dead, and I love Ash vs
yeah, I
Evil
love
Dead.
that show. Love that show. I was so heartbroken when it got canceled. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Uh,
I was
but it's
too.
all right. The 3 seasons we got, yeah, the 3 seasons we got, that was a blessing alone. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's crazy because I remember my friend is a huge Evil Dead fan, and he's like, it sucks that Ash vs Evil Dead is getting canceled, but then he was like, um, but to be fair, they made 3 seasons of the show basically off the ratings of the first season because they made no money off the last 2 seasons. So at least they were
right,
nice enough to give us those. It's like
yeah,
it's basically how I feel when it comes to BoJack Horseman. I can't. It's the only way to not get upset about it. It's,
yeah. I've actually never seen that show. I know Aaron Paul is like really involved in that, and he was Jesse in Breaking Bad, which is my favorite show. So it's got to be
yeah.
good then.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Aaron Paul's incredible. He's like really, really, really talented, and he's a fantastic voice actor, and he plays his character really well. BoJack's a really, really good show. If you it's so completely different than Mad Men, but like the character development in terms of like how well done it is almost on par to Breaking Bad.
Hmm.
Depending on the person, I would say I have Breaking Bad as my third favorite show of all time. So
Oh, okay.
um,
What are your
both
top two?
Mad Men.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, got you. That's fair. Mad Men's really good. My mom's a huge fan of Mad Men. She loves John Hamm.
yeah, I love John Hamm. After Mad Men, I had to watch like 3 John Hamm movies to get the John Hamm taste away because I was
Yeah,
like, this dude is incredibly talented.
yeah.
But
I'm a huge fan of The Town, Ben Affleck's movie, The Town, and
oh
he's a
yes,
great villain in that. Oh, I've always loved The Town. I saw it in theaters. That was my first. No, that might have been my second R-rated movie, like in the theater, and I think I was only 14. Don't ask me how I got in there. But yeah, I love that movie. Jeremy Renner should have won the Oscar.
probably. But he was incredible in Town. I can't say much about because I don't know what was nominated then. I don't think I even started watching the Oscars until Moonlight won. It was basically the reason I started watching the Oscars. But
Yeah. Mhm.
no, the Town is amazing. I just watched that maybe for the first time 2 years ago, and I remember it being. I kept scrolling through it, thinking, it looks. I mean, I guess it looks interesting. It has a good cast, but I don't want to watch it. So I kept passing by, and one day I finally watched it, and then I was like, "Oh, I guess I should have watched this a while ago." Like, this is as good as people say it
Yeah.
is.
I just remember being like shocked at how loud the gunshots were in the theater because I'd never seen a movie like that in theaters before. Like really, actually the first R-rated movie I ever saw in theaters was Predators from 2010 with Adrian Brody. Same year as The Town, actually. I'm good with years, by the way. Like, I'm such a movie nerd. Like, you can just give me a movie right now, I'll tell you the year. For some reason, I just know it. But yeah, the gunshots in The Town were so loud. I just remember that, like, because the shootout at the end of the movie, and yeah,
Oh, I think the first. See, I'm 19 now. Like, I just turned 19 last year, so well, this year I should say. Um,
yeah,
but we
yeah. I
tried
turned
to. I
24. I'm old.
oh man, 24. I can't even believe that I'm 19. It feels like it's been 2 years of my life so far.
Oh
But
yeah, no, it's like when you hit the 20s, it's like, oh no, I'm getting old now. But honestly, so far the 20s have been awesome for me. I'm talking like I'm 100 years old, but past 4 years for me, I've been really good years. I don't know, I really
that's
enjoy it
good.
so far. We'll see how it goes when we hit 30. That's I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah. Ugh. I couldn't
Yeah, I'm
imagine
still
being
very much a
30
kid. Yeah,
just because like just my mom's only 40 some years older. I can't imagine being 10 years younger than what my mom is right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. My
Uh,
parents had me when I think they were 35. Yeah, so like 35, and that's 11 years from now, but it's like, whoa, I'm gonna be there eventually. It's like, I don't know. I still feel like a kid, Like I am an adult, I can be
whew,
very mature, but I can also be very immature. So, yeah.
yeah, I totally get that because like I feel like what has made my last few years feel a lot lighter because I used to always feel a little bit less uh delighted of life has been my connection to film because it really brings you back. I feel like in time when you watch these older films and it makes you feel like like the whole point of film's existence is to allow you to feel careless in a way, like not actually like careless as in when you're handling something important and you fumble it because you don't care, but careless in a way where like you feel like you have no worries because for that moment in time you're like lost in this world that doesn't exist. And I think that's the beauty of movies and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I love me some good 3-hour epic movies. Like I always talk about Apocalypse Now and The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. Those movies just take me to another world. Like, you know what I mean? They're really long,
Yeah.
but they're so well done and you can just escape watching those. And I don't watch them that often, but when I do, it's like an event.
Yeah. I sadly got the way of watching Apocalypse Now is that the first time I watched it, even though I had bought the Blu-ray beforehand, I was going to watch it, but I ended up having
Mhm.
to watch it for class anyway. So I still haven't watched Blu-ray. I'm going to try. So I have had to watch it like in parts essentially because, classes are hour long. So I've watched like through 3 classes. So I feel like I
Oh, I
never got
see.
like the flow of it the way I should have, like the whole
Yeah.
sit down and watch it. So I need to do that sometime and just sit down and watch it.
Yeah, like I liked film class in high school because, I saw some things for the first time via that class. Like for the first time I saw a Charlie Chaplin movie was in film one. We watched Modern Times. And yeah, watching it in parts doesn't help. It's like, no, I gotta sit down and appreciate the whole thing. But, it's what it is. School, it's like a 45-minute class period, so you can't fit the whole
Yeah,
movie, and then you got to do a quiz on it. It's like, all right. I mean, I was doing good on all the quizzes. It's funny because the film teacher, I was sort of like a teacher's pet. It's true. I can't deny it. But because I was such a movie nerd already, and I knew stuff even the teacher didn't know about certain things. Like I would say certain trivia, and she'll be like, "Oh wow, I didn't know that." It's kind of funny. I don't know. People gave me some weird looks, but it's just my thing.
yeah, I get that. Like talking about some people, it depends on the person, but some people find it really weird when you go on and on about movies. Luckily, I've managed to meet a lot of people nowadays that love movies and TV shows in the way that I do. That I can talk to you like for an hour straight without realizing we just talked an hour straight about, you know,
Oh yeah.
whatever show we just watched for whatever reason. So I don't even care about whatever happens in the background anymore. It's like I love it. Everyone knows I love it. I don't care anymore.
I got a funny story too about like weirding people out with my, love of movies. We were, I think it was English 3. It was junior year of high school. We had to watch 12 Angry Men, which is one of my all-time favorites now. But it was the first time I'd ever seen the movie, and it was because we were reading the play, and the teacher was like, "Oh, let's watch the movie too," or whatever. So she puts on the movie. It's 1957, I think the movie came out. It's black and white. Uh, and a lot of people are not interested. But me, I'm watching it like, wow, look at this. The camera has gone on for 5 minutes straight without cutting, and the kid next to me is like, what? Like he's like, oh, this movie's so boring, and I'm just like, hey, did you notice the camera hasn't cut for the past 5 minutes? And he just stared at me like, uh. I'm
Oh
like, you don't
man,
realize the level of talent to make this film. And 12 Angry Men, in my opinion, is the best screenplay ever written, and all the performances are great. And it's in my top. I think it's in my top 10, maybe, if not top 20. But yeah.
that's what I've heard. I've heard a lot. I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot too. I haven't seen a lot of it, like I said. But that's the thing with film class too. One thing that I really liked about film class was, like you said, how it introduces you to like these movies, and like English class and stuff introduces you to these interesting, unique, greatly created films that you may have never heard of, like To Kill a Mockingbird. The first time I ever watched that movie was in film class. Absolutely loved it,
Yeah.
and I didn't think I
Hmm.
would, because I used to have that same thought process that a lot of other people did, where it's do still, where it's like, oh, it's black and white, so it must be bad because it's old. And then I thought before I went into To Kill a Mockingbird, and then I was like, I love this movie. This movie's incredible, every minute.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, another thing I wanted to ask you was, with reboots becoming more prominent nowadays, what is your favorite reboot and what is your least favorite reboot that's been made in the last like 5 years?
Oh man. Gotta think about that one. Um. Well, I guess you could count. Yeah, Tom Holland Spider-Man, that reboot, I think is well
Yeah.
done. I'm a huge Tobey Maguire, those movies are cheesy, but I grew up with them big time. So the Spider-Man trilogy is very nostalgic for me, and I love that Sam Raimi made those movies. And J.K. Simmons is J. Jonah Jameson is literally the best casting like of all time. Um, but the way they reintroduced Spider-Man into the MCU and Tom Holland sort of being this unknown actor, I guess you could say, and becoming this huge star now, and I think that was very well done. And Andrew Garfield Spider-Man for me is kind of hit or miss. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of that one, but
I didn't
yeah,
like it at
definitely
all,
the MCU
personally.
Spider-Man. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
I
first.
always, yeah.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, just like I've always like, so there's only something about the Amazing Spider-Man that I didn't like. Something about Andrew Garfield that I always felt was off for the character from the moment I watched the first one, and then the second one was even worse for me. So I don't know, it's just not my type of film, I guess.
Because he's like 30 years old playing a high schooler.
Yeah,
It did. Yeah. Like he was good, but the first movie was like forgettable. The second movie, everyone knows about the second movie. It's like a mess. There's 5,000 villains, and you know, I don't know. He
Yeah.
just kind of got dealt a bad hand, I guess. He's a good actor, but
Oh, he's a great actor for sure. He's such a good
yeah.
actor. I never realized how great of an actor he was until I finally ventured out of and started watching his movies after the Amazing Spider-Man ones. Like just Under the Silver Lake alone. Like he's great in that. Even though I don't think it's the greatest movie ever, and I kind of have an unpopular opinion in terms of like how much I like it. His performance is fantastic.
Right. You know what? You really reminded me, by the way, when you're speaking of reboots. I was so excited for the new Ghostbusters this year because God knows I refuse to watch the 2016 one. Everyone who watches my channel knows this. I will never watch that movie. I don't care. Um, so this was
I'm
going
not
to be a
good.
proper Ghostbusters 3, and it got delayed because of the virus all the way to next March.
No,
Supposed to come out in July. So, man, I knew it's got to be good because the director's son, the director of the original two movies, his son is an Oscar nominated director, and he's making this one, and it's going to be done well. He said they made a really nice script, and I don't know. I thought it was going to be a great reboot, but we have to wait till March.
I know that sucks. It looks really, really interesting, and I really, really was looking forward to it. I think everyone was looking forward to it. I think more people were looking forward to it than even know about the 2016 one at this point. It was getting a
Oh
lot
yeah,
more
that's
cover.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it was building up way more hype. Lately, well, I would say lately, as in like when the trailer came out back then, but now it's dying down because it got pushed with everything. So who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah, that trailer got me so hyped. Oh my god, that was a really well done trailer. But the virus had to ruin everything. Like,
I know.
it sucks.
Delayed Soul, sadly.
Oh yeah, the Pixar movie. Yep, everything. Yeah, everything's affected. Like the whole world is at a standstill for the past, what's it been, like 2 months at this point, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
about 2 months. Well, I think the last thing I seen in theater was Invisible Man.
oh, I heard that was good. Was it good?
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed it. There's a couple things here or there that's like, oh, that was a little bit ridiculous, or that didn't really make that much sense. But with a movie like Invisible Man that's so out there in its premise alone, there's gonna be moments like that. But with all those moments, it's pretty realistic, either way.
Okay.
And it's a
Yeah.
really, really well made just film in general. Like as a thriller, like the sound design is incredible, and I don't want to like go too crazy over because I do have a video coming out on it in like a day or two actually because I was editing it earlier. It's just a
Okay.
really,
I'll check
really,
that
really oh thanks,
out.
but it's a really a good film for what it is, and it's crazy because you have to. I'm not okay. I'm gonna stop going crazy about it because I'll go over it in the review. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, yeah, I know what
Yeah. There's so much I just want to say because I haven't been able to talk about it because I haven't been able to see a lot of my friends. Because right after I watched the movie, I was going to go see another movie, and then the virus thing hits, and it would everything's kind of no one's
you
seen
mean. Yeah,
it. You know what I mean?
the last thing I saw was Birds of Prey for, I think you're gonna think I'm crazy. I think the fourth time I saw it in theaters. I saw Birds of Prey 4 times.
Really? So I'm assuming you liked
I've
it.
never Yeah, just a little bit. I don't think I've ever seen a movie 4 times in theaters. Something about that movie just wanted me to go back and watch it again. Like I don't know. Like I obviously love the movie if you've seen my review, and I did a new DC ranking. But man, that movie I love it. Like I don't know, and I've kind of exhausted it at this point. Watching it so many times. But I watched it 4 times, and that was the last thing I saw in theaters.
Oh, I'm happy someone
Yeah,
else loves the movie because I also love the movie, and everyone I talk to tells me it's okay, and I'm always like, come on, I love everything about it. I never have anyone to
yeah.
agree with me.
Yeah, I think it's just, specific people. If you're not like a Harley Quinn fan per se, maybe it's not your thing. Or, the thing about the movie I noticed, it's easy to pick on, I guess, because, oh,
Yeah.
it's just it's like a female little movie. It's nothing. It's not significant. It's not like Superman level. It's not Batman level. I mean, to me, it was a fun, awesome movie. Like, I had
Oh
no
yeah.
problems with it, really. Yeah.
Well, I always
So,
love fast-paced, like colorful films. And Birds of Prey, I said it in my review of it. I said, it feels like a comic book. Like that's what makes it so
Yeah.
good is it actually does feel like a comic book. Like comic book movie should feel like this. It's not too huge like everything else nowadays or too small. It fits perfectly to me at least.
hmm Yeah, like I pointed out too. I was like, I think it's cool that in this day and age, Warner Brothers actually funded a Harley Quinn movie that was rated R, and it came out really well made, really well directed, great set pieces, great music. Everything about the movie was awesome to me. Like the soundtrack's amazing. I listen to it all the time. Margot Robbie was a producer on the movie, and helped get it made and everything. And I don't know, I really appreciated that this movie exists. And I think it's fun, and you know people just
Yeah,
they're just very picky.
yeah, I know. It's yeah, you never realize how um, easy it is to dissect great films if you look for it. Until you watch a movie and love it and realize every other person you meet is gonna hate it. Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, is there a movie like that you love that everybody else hates? You know what I mean?
oh yeah, Four Brothers. I mean, not everyone hates it. Critics hate it. That's critics.
It's funny that you
It's kind
mentioned that because my best friend Rob loves that movie, and the first time he showed it to me, I was just like, "Yeah, it was all right." And he looked at me with like an evil stare, like, "What?" Because he loves that movie.
I do
Yeah.
too. I swear, when I was a kid, one time I watched it 7 times in one day. It was just something that I couldn't stop watching for some reason. That's the
Oh,
reason
okay.
I consider myself a Mark Wahlberg fan, is because of that movie alone. I don't know what it is
Yeah.
about it, because I understand that it is not the best film ever, and it is not the most well written film
Right.
ever. But it's the movie I've probably seen the most of anything, and can watch and love it every time I watch it.
I also think it's a matter of like what's available to you. Like, because like I said, back in the day, we only had so many things we could watch. Like, I know I watched Trek 2 on DVD like 5 billion times after we had a hurricane here in Florida, because our cable was out for like a month, and like that was like one of the only DVDs we had. So I literally watched Trek 2 5 billion times. Like I was literally going through the menus, playing the games, everything you could think of. We had electricity, but no cable. So yeah, I watched that 1 billion times, and I have a certain appreciation for it, as compared to other things. But yeah, certain things were available to us, and I'm sure Four Brothers was one of the few things you had access to. That's why you rewatched it so many times.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Four Brothers is one of the few films that I've had complete access to ever since I was like, I don't know, like a kid. Like my dad owned the movie
hmm
when I was a kid, and Netflix now had it for a while, and now I own the movie, so I've always had that chance to watch Four Brothers. So whenever I get
Right.
that feeling, I can always put it in too. So that's why it makes it a lot easier to watch. But I've always also been a fan of that kind of genre of film as well, like crime, kind of more personal gangster than big. Like there's the big gangster movies that are about like huge crimes and like heist, and they're really not gangster films. I shouldn't say, like more like big crime heist films. And I'm more into the down to more that are down to earth, like Four Brothers, which is a little big sometimes, but or like Boys in the Hood and stuff like that. So I've always kind of liked the genre
Oh
anyway.
yeah, Boys in the Hood's great. I love that movie. Ice
Oh
Cube
yeah,
was, yeah, that little monologue he gives at the end talking about, they don't care what's going on in the hood. Like that was an Oscar-worthy performance. You can say what you want about Ice Cube's acting in general, but at the end of the movie, that performance he gives is really good. Like that was an incredible movie.
oh yeah, that movie. He's incredible in that movie. I feel like anyone that says Ice Cube can't act, I mean,
Yeah,
he,
just
he
show him
might
that.
phone in
Yeah.
exactly right. That like I always say, watch Boys in the Hood. Trust me, your opinion will change. Because yeah, he delivers a lot of phone in performances, and does a lot of like more fun movies that aren't as serious. People don't take him as serious. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Watch Boys in the Hood, and you'll have a different view of Ice Cube. Either way, even if you don't like it, you'll have a
Absolutely.
different view.
hmm
But oh, what are more films like that? I feel like there's a lot of actors that have a film like that. Like Kevin Hart, he just did The Upside, and that kind of felt like a film. I don't know, like that for him. Have you seen The
Oh, I
Upside?
see what you mean. Yeah. No, I haven't seen it, but I know what you mean. It's like one of those things you wouldn't expect out of like a comedic actor. Like for example, like Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems. You wouldn't
Yeah.
expect that per se. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because
So.
I love Adam Sandler's comedy,
hmm
and but my top three Adam Sandler films are Rain Over Me, Punch Drunk Love, and Uncut Gems. but I still love the Happy Gilmores and all the fantastic comedies that he's made that I thought were hilarious. But even as one of the most popular comedic actors that out there right now, and even though he has done some great comedic work, still those my top three are those three dramas that I love. And I never watched the Meyerowitz stories, so I can't really see much of that one. But those three I love so much. Always have for years. Well, Uncut Gems
Yeah,
recently, but
yeah, I heard the Meyerowitz stories is really good. I need to check that out because yeah, he should have got nominated for Uncut Gems. I don't know what happened there. You know what? You know what I noticed? The Oscars, they like having 5 nominations only for things. They should extend that because for years, Best Picture was only 5 nominations, and then I think like in the past decade, they extended it to like 9 or 10. They should do the same thing with actors. I mean, people are getting snubbed left and right. Like it's ridiculous.
yeah, I agree. I always thought that the actor category should be like 7 at least, because there's
Yeah,
only so many that you could like. There's really no reason not to have it bigger because there's so many more movies being made nowadays that there's no excuse, and there's so many great performances. There's no real reason against it. So I don't know why they don't.
yeah, I don't know. It's all politics, I guess. I don't know. The Oscars are,
Yeah.
people hate on the Oscars. I find it enjoyable, but some things I'm just like, really, you couldn't nominate that? Like, come on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like watching it. It's fun. I just don't take it seriously anymore because it's like, no matter what's like, at the end of the day, no matter what you want to say, films is like super opinionated. So it's like, you're always going to be
Yeah.
upset with who wins unless it's the one you want anyway. So you just got to enjoy it
Yeah.
for what it is.
Yeah. Everybody's got a different take because I totally thought The Irishman would have won every award. It didn't win. I don't think it won a single Oscar. It got nominated for like 11 or something crazy, and it
Yeah,
didn't
I
win a
got
single
11
one.
noms, 0 win. I was
I was
shocked, but it didn't win. I thought it was going to win at least 3. I thought it would have
yeah.
at least took both. I thought it would at least took away the supporting actor. I was shocked when that didn't happen.
Right.
And but yeah, I can get what you're saying because I think a lot of people felt that way with Joker too, where they all thought like Joker's this amazing movie, so it's going to win everything, and then it only walked away with 2 things. And Parasite, no one expected. A lot of people didn't expect it to win because it was a foreign film, and foreign films don't win a lot. And then it walked away with like 5 wins or something, right? And
Oh
shocked
yeah.
people.
Yeah, Parasite was great. I loved that movie. Was really well done. I'm very happy that it won too. That wasn't a problem at all for me. I know some people had problems with that, but come on, can you guys, it's the first time in history a foreign movie won Best Picture, and the guy seems very wholesome. The director, he was accepting awards left and right. He couldn't believe it. He's like, oh my god, I'm gonna drink until next morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so happy for that movie.
I know. I haven't seen it yet just because I have a hard time watching foreign films because I don't like reading subtitles. I know a lot of people hate people that say that, but with me I've always been a guy that likes to connect the characters through dialogue, and I like to hear what's happening more than I
Yeah,
even like see. So I got to get over that curve. Eventually I'll get over that curve and be able to watch them, but until then I try not to watch them so I don't like watch them and not appreciate them at the time. I never want to watch a movie that I know I'm not going to appreciate fully. So I'll eventually watch it. But I get what you're saying because I was really happy when it won just because of like the whole idea around it. Like I was like, this is kind of a big deal. And like you said, the director's
hmm
like, he seems fantastic. Like he seems like a fantastic guy.
yeah. I
But
understand your the subtitle thing because I know a lot of people they won't watch a movie without the subtitles. Like I'm talking like just regular English, and I don't watch movies with subtitles just because I think it's sort of distracting. It doesn't let you, I'd rather just watch the movie and be invested and actually try to hear what they're saying and decipher it myself. Um, yeah, I totally get the subtitle thing. When people say, "Oh, I need to have subtitles when I watch," I'm like, no, you don't need it. It's like some people are like, well, if I go to the theater to see a movie, they don't have subtitles. Are you kidding me? Come on, ridiculous.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like you can go to a theater and watch a movie without subtitles. Um,
yeah,
like I know a lot of people that need subtitles because they have to keep the TV really low because it's at night. That one's kind of understandable, but a theater, it's like
yeah,
the whole point of going to a theater is that it's loud and you need to appreciate like every part of it, like the visual and the sound. So, but I agree with subtitles kind of being a distraction too for me because at first it's not because I naturally start reading it, but eventually when I realize I'm reading a subtitle, I can't get my eyes off the subtitle, and that's normally when I have to stop watching the movie. So that's happened to me a couple
yeah.
times.
hmm
But Yeah. What movie are you excited that's coming out this year that people are already putting in Oscar buzz? You know how like there's always these certain movies that even before they come out, people are calling it like an Oscar movie, like during Oscar season and stuff. Is there anything that you're excited to see that you think is like might be one of those type of movies that's going to be nominated for Oscars and awards?
Well, the funny thing is, I don't, is anything still coming out this year? I mean, I'm sure the virus will be over with soon, but I honestly don't know. Like everything got delayed. So, I know Black Widow's coming out in November. I'm not trying to say that's an Oscar movie, but that's one example I can think of. I honestly don't even know what's coming out anymore because everything got delayed. Like I've just totally lost touch with, what's gonna happen now. Um, yeah, I don't know. Do you have any like prime examples that I'm probably blanking on right now?
Um, I agree with you that it's hard because of it, but I know Palm Springs is one that a lot of people are excited for. I'm excited for that one too. That's the one I was even thinking about when I asked the question because I was just thinking about Palm Springs. So,
Which one's that?
uh,
Who's in it?
that's the movie with shoot. Why am I blanking on his name? I literally say his name all the time, talking about him all the time. You're gonna know this. Don't. There's no disrespect to him because I know he's a fantastic comedian and great actor. The guy from Popstar. Never stops topic.
Oh,
Um,
Andy Samberg,
Andy
right?
Samberg. Yes.
Yeah.
Finally, of course, it comes to me after I already say the guy
Right.
from Popstar. But yeah, he's in it, and then Camila Mendez is in it, the girl from Riverdale,
Oh
and
yeah.
I have a bunch of other people apparently. That those are the two people I know for sure. But apparently, it looks really good. I've seen like the idea and like read the description, I guess, and that was enough to sell me. And it looks interesting. That's just one I know a lot of
Okay.
people have talked about. Then
Yeah, I'm gonna look that one up.
okay. And there's like all the A24 stuff that's coming out. Everyone always talks about A24 now. They're huge now. So when something comes out, well, at least they're huge in like the sinful word or sinfile world or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like because of the virus that it's kind of made studios way more hesitant on like releasing information about movies they don't know what they're going to release. So who knows what comes out during Oscar season this year?
Oh, you know
Hey,
what's crazy too that you just reminded me. I think the Trolls movie is gonna be responsible for movie theaters dying. It's so crazy what's happening right now because now Regal is stepping in and being like, yeah, AMC is right. You guys shouldn't, release your movie straight to digital. You know what's going on, right? You heard all the details.
oh yeah. I mean, I went to rent the new Trolls movie just because I wanted to watch something new before I realized it's $20 to rent for the world premiere, and I was like, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
out.
because I don't know if Universal realizes because, a regular movie ticket, at least here is like $10 at the most. So when
Yeah,
people go to buy Trolls now, it's literally like double the price, and I think it's like $25 to own it also. So that's even more. So that's why it made so much money. And Universal was jumping the gun, like, oh yeah, we're releasing stuff straight to video now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea, guys, because now theaters, AMC did not, they gave 0 Fs, and they're like, yeah, we're not showing your movies anymore. Um, I don't know. It's just
yeah.
crazy.
I kind of realized I felt like that was gonna be a big problem this year when everything immediately got released on digital, like when the whole quarantine thing hit, like when just out of nowhere everything just started getting put out. I was like, oh, this isn't gonna end well.
Yeah, I don't know, because I heard rumors that AMC might file for bankruptcy, or I don't know. I hope to God not, because I love AMC. I got one right near me, and it's a great theater. I've never had a problem with them, and it's kind of scary. Yeah.
All I got is Cineplex anyways, and they just got bought by another, like the Canadian Cineplex got bought by a different uh, theater brand that I have no clue about. So soon I'll have a new theater anyway, I guess. We'll see what happens
Yeah.
there. Ooh. But but yeah, I think that with the pushback, I mean, I think not film, but I think the Oscar season might be in January and February instead of October to December this year. The the way it's going.
Yeah, they might have to like push the Oscars forward too, because normally the Oscars take place in February, but they might have to move that forward, I guess. I don't know what's going to happen. Everything got screwed up this year. It's like this year, when we look back at this year, we're going to be like, yeah, that year didn't count. Nothing happened that year. We can just
Yeah.
forget about that year. Jesus.
This was the last thing I expected going into this year. I even had a goal for this year. I was like, I reached 98 movies last year. This year I want to reach over 100, and there's no way
Oh,
I'm reaching
wow.
over 100 new movies this year. I've only watched 11 so far.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
boy.
I know it sucks because I was like, I was going to theater a lot. Hello, sorry about that.
It's okay. Take
Oh,
3.
take 3. Yeah, like I said, this is the only problem with the Anchor app. It's like if anything happens to your connection for even a second, it's gone. But luckily, they do make sure they save the audio beforehand, so there's at least one positive in it.
Okay, cool.
But yeah. So I wanted to ask, how is it? How was it when you were growing your channel, but like at first when you're not getting as much traction compared to now when you're with like compared to like the amount of people that watch now compared to when you first started? How different does it feel like from what you can remember?
Well, it's funny because, I have 10,000 subscribers, but I still feel like I got like, you know, 1,000. It's weird. Like it's just mainly the people that comment. You'll see frequent people all the time comment, like, your real fans, your real supporters. And it's always sort of been that way. There's always that loyal, like, few. And, I'll give a shout out right now to my biggest fan, Aaron. I hope he's listening to this. And he has always been there, since like I think, yeah, early 2016. So not even a year in to when I was like, you know, making videos on a frequent basis. But he was one person that really inspired me to like keep going. But at first it's kind of like I don't know if this is gonna turn into anything, but I kind of had the idea to do giveaways of digital copies because honestly I don't even use them, and that really helped, because I only give them to subscribers. That kind of, gives people an incentive to subscribe, and I try to get making my videos higher quality over time. If you watch my first videos, they're not really good. I'm like talking so quiet, because it's a kind of a tricky thing to just talk in front of a camera, and you're like nervous and um, but I don't know, just organically over time, it's just patience is a virtue, and I've always been a patient person, at least I think so. And it just takes time, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, I guess you could say. So I just always had this mindset of like, if you keep going, it'll pay off. And, hopefully right now I get even bigger eventually. Like, I don't know, I'm not trying to turn into, crazy huge star. I'm always going to try to be a humble person, not, um, and modest, I guess. I'm a very modest person too. Like anytime somebody compliments me, I'm just like, whatever. Um, I don't know. Just always try to be real and genuine, and just keep moving forward. That's the best advice I could give. And um, yeah, like I said, at first it just seems kind of daunting, but I just think it's crazy, and I get at least, I get new subscribers every day, which is cool. And it slowly builds. It's a slow burn, and hopefully for you, this podcast, like I'm going to be posting about this on Instagram and YouTube. I'll be like, yo, I just did my first podcast ever. This guy Harland, he's awesome. He asked all the great questions, and he has a great process here, and he made it real easy for me. And it's going to give you some exposure, um and it's just a really cool way to you know just get a little attention. And I wish you the best of luck too, because I know how hard it is, starting with nothing and nobody's watching. I know that feeling. Um, but you actually have a legitimate podcast here. And I love the logo, by the way. I looked it up on Apple Podcasts. It's really classy.
Thank
You
you.
got decent, a couple hours each episode. It's really cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just a slow process, but it's so worth it though, because right now I feel like, I'm starting to get a spark. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what I always liked about unboxing videos is like what you said about just being real is like what I liked about your last video. is that I felt like I got like the complete full real version of you with like a real reaction to everything that you were talking about, and I think that people really connect to videos like that, that it makes it more interesting, right? That's why I like your channel. I think your channel is definitely going to eventually get like even way
Thank you.
bigger. I honestly, I think it's going to be like I don't know. I can't make predictions because I'm not a predicting guy, but I definitely could see you growing in the future a lot more and being, a lot bigger because you have a great way of making your videos that that people can enjoy watching more than just one, and it can go and watch like a bunch. And I feel like with unboxing videos is that if someone doesn't have like that kind of personality and connection to their base, that people won't want to sit through a 7, 8 minute video.
Yeah, thank you though. Do you? I gotta ask you, by the way, because I've never had this chance really to like talk to a viewer actually, like voice to voice. Do you have a personal favorite video I've done, or like a couple, or you know?
Personal favorite? I don't know, honestly. I never see when I watch a YouTuber a lot, I just like if I like a YouTuber that I'm gonna like and I like all their stuff, I never really have a favorite. I'm thinking of even of other YouTubers I watch, I can't even think of a favorite of theirs even really. Like maybe like I really like your ranking videos just 'cause I really like ranking videos, especially for like some
Okay.
of your MCU ranking videos and stuff, just because it's always interesting to hear what other people have to say about that kind of stuff, especially because I just did a pod on it. So that might be the reason why I like the MCU ranking videos as much as I do. But yeah, stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that.
love rankings too. Yeah, the funny thing is too, like I always make videos about stuff that I'd want to watch, like,
Right.
unboxings or reviews or, I'm trying to do, well, I was gonna do more workout videos at the gym because I go to the gym all the time, but right now it's closed, so that kind of put a, roadblock in that. But I always try to find different things to do, like rankings, uh I used to do reaction videos to certain TV shows and I don't know. I just like doing different things once in a while. I don't want to be just, unboxings only, even though it's like my main thing. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a cool way to, be part of something you like. YouTube is a really cool thing that exists because you can be part of this sort of, not like a filmmaking community, but you get to produce content that, you're interested in. And it's just a really cool escape, sort of like movies.
Yeah, I feel that for sure because like everything you just said, even like about wanting to make more content that you like and wanting to expand in terms of like having more versatility in your content is like it's a hard thing to do always because when you build a fan base about around mainly one thing, that it's really hard to have them interested in other things too, which is why I always find it really interesting when people are willing to uh, add more things into their content that people can kind of discover through you is something that's really interesting. How do you think that is with your channel when you do because you do different types of videos? How do you think that you help other people discover maybe their interest in other things that they didn't even realize? Do you think that you do that a lot, or like you see like comments like that a lot?
Um, Sometimes I'll get people like, if I do like a top favorite movies or something, or if I say I like this music or something like that, I'll get people interested in things they don't know of. Like I think I got somebody into oh, I don't remember what it was. I think it might have been The Weeknd because I'm a huge fan of The Weeknd, and I think I did like a few unboxings of some of his CDs, and people are like, "Oh, I listen to him now, and he's awesome. Thank you for this." And or certain movies, "Oh, I don't know what this movie was, but I'll check it out because of this video." And I think that's really cool. I think it's a really cool way to put stuff out there that you like. Like for example, my last video that you talked about where I unboxed the mirror from my favorite band, Paris. I want people to discover that band because I love that band like so much, and they're so awesome. And I think it's just a great way to expose stuff that people might not know about. And they're not like a major band or anything, but I want people to listen to them because they're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I never heard of them before until I watched that video, and I'm definitely gonna check out their music probably tonight because I'm a really big music guy, and I was like, yo, if this band really is as good as he says, then I'm gonna really really enjoy this. So I gotta check it out. So like I like when stuff like that happens. Like I take the chance to watch a video about something that isn't learn more about it and wanting to continue to maybe discover more about it. And I always think,
Hmm.
but
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? I think you might have got disconnected. I think it's like kind of buzzing or whatever. I hear buzzing noises.
or trying to reconnect. It says, okay, there we go.
Okay,
Okay,
I
yeah,
can
I don't
hear
know
you.
what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. That was kind of.
Yeah, I'll try to my best to edit that out. Um, but with that being said, what I was about to ask you was, what's your favorite thing about making a YouTube video?
Um, I just think because I just like just being able to like sort of talk to people or show people stuff that we share a common interest in. Like I love this community of like people collecting movies, for example. Like I think it's just a really cool way to communicate about different things and different releases that are coming out. And I like to rank steelbooks or not rank steelbooks. Like I rate steelbooks in every single video just for fun. I'll be like, oh, this one's a 10 out of 10, and some people are like, what are you talking about? That steelbook sucks. It's just funny. It's just funny like banter back and forth. Yeah, that's probably my favorite thing is looking through the comments and talking to people, and I see a lot of familiar faces all the time. Like I want to give some shout outs to a guy named Tony Stark on YouTube. It's not his real name, obviously. But I think his name's Arian on Instagram. He's a huge supporter. I that kid's awesome. And there's a few other people, but there's recurring people in your comments, and that always just brings a smile to my face. Like, oh, these people, they're real fans. They stick around for every video. They comment on like every video. Um, yeah, it's just a really cool thing. You get to see some interesting people, the few that there are. But I know if I ever get big someday, I'm never gonna forget them. You know what I mean? Like I'm always gonna somehow keep in contact with them and remember what they did for me. Um, yeah, and like you, especially right now, I'm always gonna remember this. This is my first like interview or whatever, my first podcast. So I'm gonna be like, yeah, Harlan did it first, so go check him out. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have this account that had a lot more followers and I always loved like commenting to people and talking to people and talking about things of the same interest. And I just got my first comment on a video on YouTube, and it's just like a little small comment about the show, but like I love that. I feel like that if I ever do grow to like a nice, decent like audience, that like it's gonna be so much fun just to read comments and actually be able to talk and actually have a conversation about these things than just me talking about it. Because I do that. I feel like I do it a lot. I feel like I talk a lot to just nothing. It feels like sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's kind of weird sometimes when you're filming something. It's just, especially in my house, because I actually still live with my parents because I'm trying to finish my bachelor's degree at college, and then after that, I'm gonna, eventually move out and all that. But I love my family. But sometimes when I'm filming in my room, I feel like everyone is just listening to me because I can't have any
Yeah,
music in the background, obviously, because of copyright. So everything's quiet in my room. I'm trying to film, and I feel like my voice is super loud. Like right now, I feel like someone's got their ear pressed against the door just listening to this whole thing. But it's not true at all. They probably don't even hear anything. But you just think in the back of your head like, somebody might be listening, and it's kind of awkward. I'm just talking to myself technically. I don't know.
yeah. See, for me, I always tell my family right before I do a podcast to be like, "Hey, can you not come down to my room just because I don't want to interrupt, right?" So I always make sure that I don't have any interruptions around the time frame. So I always feel like someone's gonna bust in just for the sake of it all the time, or like there's gonna be some loud noise or something randomly, or like people are gonna be listening. And that's why normally I like to try to film at night when I do my videos, my YouTube videos, or I want to record a song or something. I normally do it all at night when I know it's gonna be quiet, and no one's up,
Right.
or hopefully no one's up. You never know. Sometimes I can be in the middle of a recording session. The next thing I know, my door flings open.
Yeah, another thing too I just thought of. I actually, I don't tell people I make videos because I feel like I'm not like ashamed or anything. It's just I feel like if somebody goes and watch my videos, they're gonna like, make jokes and be like, oh, this you're doing movie opening video like opening packages and these are videos, and I'm like, ah, come on, you don't get it. I only tell certain people. I got a few best friends. I told them. I've told my parents, obviously. I told my sister. Certain people know, but I don't go around telling everybody. It's kind of like a little secret, I guess. I'm sort of like
Yeah.
Batman, keeping my secret. But I don't know. It's just, one day if I ever do get big, somebody's gonna recognize me or something. That has yet to happen. But if somebody ever recognized me out in public one day, I'll be like, yo, that's crazy. Like I can't believe that actually happened. Um, but yeah, I just, it's just you got to be humble about it. You don't want to just go tell everybody, unless you want to get support from all your friends and fans of movies per se. They would listen to your, actually be interested in your podcast. But it's not for everybody. Like certain people in
Yeah.
my life, I wouldn't tell about Blu-ray collecting or anything like that.
I'm different because I tell everyone on my social medias, mainly because I feel like I don't talk to a lot of people, so I don't really know who's interested in this thing, and it's always really interesting when I put it out because I always talk to new people that I've known for a while, like known of, like you know each other, but you don't really know each other. That all of a sudden there's this new person that I just realize loves movies and I can talk to about them. So I do that because it happens all the time. Really, when I put it on like my Snapchat story, let's say, I have like a few people that reply, a few different people reply every time, or like, oh, you should talk about this movie, you should talk about that movie, and I'm like, I didn't even know you like movies that much.
Yeah.
So it's always fun when stuff like that happens, um, but yeah. Anyways, on your last, so continuing with your last video, when you bought that mirror, that like I'll call it like a signature mirror, right? Like it's really important. It's this big thing. How much
Yeah.
kind of stuff like that that you can see yourself collecting in the future, like real life props of things?
Well, the thing is, I'm not big on splurging like that. That was just a once in a lifetime opportunity, in my eyes, So I was like, oh man, I gotta do it. Like, I just gotta. And, for that occasion, it's my favorite band, and there's only one of those things that I know of so far. When I meet them one day, I'm gonna ask them, is there one mirror? I assume it is because I messaged directly with the woman that worked with them on music videos, and she said, she's pretty sure it's just one. But that to me was like, okay, I got to get that. I mean, I don't really find myself splurging on things though. Like if I ever became filthy rich one day, sure, but I don't think I'm much of a splurger. That was just one instance where I had to do it. In my eyes, I had to do it. But no, I don't think I'm ever gonna be, a big splurger. I guess you could say.
All right, yeah, I get you. Like, there's always that one thing that I think for everyone, it's like if you ever get the chance to get it, you get that one thing. It doesn't mean that you're gonna get everything every time you see it. So
Right.
I get what you're saying.
Are you aware, by the way, that A24 has a whole website dedicated to auctioning off props from their movies? And that is definitely out of my price range because they're
Yeah.
auctioning off the Midsummer May Queen dress. They're auctioning off the Furby from Uncut Gems. They're auctioning off all kinds of stuff, but it's tons of money. So that's totally out of
Well,
my
yeah.
price range. Yeah.
If I had, listen, if I was that wealthy that I could spend 20K on a prop that's like maybe 2 inches tall, then I would do so. But sadly, I don't think I'll
Right.
ever have enough money to afford anything real out of an A24 movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was like, I couldn't believe how expensive everything was and as to how many people wanted it. I was like, I want it, but I don't even I don't even think I have 1/10 of the price to get that.
Yeah, it's like as much as I love Uncut Gems, to have that Furby, that would be, I'd have to take out a few loans for that thing, like, just for a
Yeah,
little Furby. Like, nah, forget it.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm be
uh,
owing money all over town, just like Howard Ratner. I'm gonna have people, debt collectors, hanging me out of windows. Where's the money? It's gonna be that real life.
yeah.
Uh,
I totally feel you. That's one thing I hate about eBay is that every once in a while you can see those like these like super expensive products, and it's like the most tempting thing ever. And you got to remember, hey, you can't afford that.
yeah.
But yeah. So what is your favorite steelbook ever in your collection?
I did a video. It must have been like at least 2 or 3 years ago at this point, where I did the top five favorites, And the Anchorman 1 and 2 steelbook, I know it's stupid because it's just this, it's a profile of above, or below his eyes. You see his mustache, and he's doing the thing with his tie. It's a silly steelbook, but I don't know, something about the Anchorman 1 and 2 steelbook is really cool to me, and at the time it was my number one. Um, but now it's probably changed. I'd really have to think about it. But the first thing that came to mind just now was the Apocalypse Now Zabi steelbook. That thing is beautiful, and I'm so glad I bought it because I normally don't buy things that are, like foreign, for example, because Zavi is located in, I think, the United Kingdom.
Yeah, in the
But
UK.
I had to buy that one. Yeah, because the artwork on it was so beautiful, and when I got it in my hands, I'm like, yo, this thing is gorgeous, and I gave it a 10 out of 10, and it might just be that one because it's the first thing that came to mind when you asked me that. Um, yeah, I'm probably gonna do an updated video on that because I've gotten so many steelbooks since then. Like one I'm thinking of right now is the Logan one. The Logan one is really
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Whew, well, I'll definitely check out that video when it comes out because I always like watching um videos about steel books because what I said earlier about like being able to choose which one I want and knowing what it looks like beforehand. And because I think my favorite one that I have is probably Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I really like that steel book. I don't know what edition it
yeah,
is.
see, I didn't even know that had a steelbook because certain things, across, not in the US, for example, like there's steelbooks for all kinds of movies that don't get released here. Like, for what I know, I go to Best Buy all the time, and I usually get probably like 99% of my steelbooks are from Best Buy, and I'm so like sheltered to all this other foreign stuff. Like I know Zavi is a great company, and people would always ask me, "Hey, you should get Zavi steelbooks. Hey, you should get this. You should get that." But it's kind of pricey, and I
Yeah,
I just kind of I just kind of like sticking to what's domestic. And Best Buy is
yeah,
great with shipping, so I always get stuff early sometimes, and that helps with views because I'll be sometimes, actually a lot of times, I think I've been the first person to unbox a certain thing, and people go to that video immediately, and gets a ton of views, and that helps. And Best Buy has a rewards program too, so I always get $5 rewards all the time, and you know yeah, that's pretty much why I just stick to Best Buy. But I am aware there's really great stuff out there. Like you said, the Eternal Sunshine one, I'm gonna look that up later and look at it and see what you mean, because I didn't even know that one had a steelbook.
yeah. Well, sorry, mouthful apparently. With all the exclusive companies, I think there's like three different ones actually with Sunshine and Spotless Mind. I think I have the most basic one, but um, yeah, like you said, I'm like that. I'm kind of like that, but I except for I only buy from eBay, so technically I buy from all kinds of different places, but I've never bought a steelbook from Best Buy because they're really, really pricey in Canada because there's, few and far in between and new releases for a steelbook. I know in the US are what, like 27, like 28, 27 maybe on the regular,
Well,
maybe
the
less.
steelbook, if I'm correct, I think the steelbooks usually range from like 25 to 30, sometimes even 35. I know the Disney ones were pricey at first. Now they're like really cheap because nobody bought them because Disney Plus. But like certain ones were 35, I think. And I honestly don't even like look at the price. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm getting that. Add it to cart.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it usually ranges from like anywhere from like 25 to 35 at the most. Yeah.
yeah. Well, down here they're normally like, well, I live in a small town, so I get one every 57 releases basically, but um they're normally like 40, $50 for a brand new one. And then we never get like, if we got the crazy sale that you guys just recently got on Best Buy, I would buy tons from there,
Yeah.
but we never get any sales on Best Buy Steelbook. So they're always $50, $60 and they never go down in price. I'm on the Canadian site. So it's just
Yeah.
what I got to deal with, I guess. That's why I normally use eBay. But yeah, I get what you're saying with Zavi because I was gonna order a bunch of steelers from Zavi one day, but then I just didn't because of the whole like I didn't trust it enough, and I was like what if they come and the discs don't play because of the region? And so, but eventually I bought one, and since then I bought probably like four or five, and I think they're actually a pretty good company. And most
Yeah,
are
and
disc.
thankfully the 4Ks are all region free. Like any 4K disc is region free, so that's a good thing too. thankfully.
Nice. Yeah, see, I haven't upgraded to 4K yet because like my girlfriend has a 4K TV, but neither one of us have a player, so I'm just right now full Blu-ray. I just ordered my first ever 4K steelbook.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. And this might be a weird question. Do they have Black Friday in Canada? Sorry, I don't know. I'm
yeah.
very sheltered. Okay, that's the best
It is,
time to
but
get a 4K TV. Yeah.
yeah, I know that's when we got it actually, but oh wait, no, we got it at Boxing Day because we have I don't think there's Boxing Day in the US, but it's the day after Christmas, and we don't celebrate Black Friday in the way you guys do because we have our Thanksgiving at a different time. So and Black Friday is a Thanksgiving holiday, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, we don't have crazy Black Friday sales. We have crazy Boxing Day sales, which is what we have basically to as a replacement of Black Friday, but it's later on. And but movies don't really come on sale because movies don't really sell a lot down here for some reason. So,
Oh, okay.
but we got the TV during Boxing Day.
Yeah, 4K is definitely worth it though. Like when I upgraded, I was like, wow, that is a big difference. Like, wow. Certain ones look better than others, but like you mentioned Get Out earlier, that's one I usually, go to for reference quality. Get Out looks fantastic. Trying to think what else looks really good. Glass looks fantastic. I'm just looking at my collection right now, actually.
Does Baby Driver? Because
What
that's the
else?
4K steelbook I just
Oh
bought.
yeah. Oh yeah. Any Sony, Sony. I love the cameras that Sony uses. I'm a big Sony sucker. Except for Ghostbusters 2016. But yeah, I love any Sony movie, like how it looks in terms of, yeah, 4Ks are really good for Sony.
Well, I'm definitely gonna get a 4K player soon. I just gotta find one. I feel like I feel like there's not a lot around for some reason. But when I do, I'm definitely gonna check out Baby Driver right away and see that 4K quality. That and I want to get. I think I'll get what was it? Not Rise of Skywalker, but I'll get whew, the first of the Skywalker trilogy. I've heard that's incredible on 4K.
Oh, do you mean Force Awakens? The
Yes.
new trilogy? Oh, okay, got you. I haven't checked out that 4K yet because I've had the Blu-ray Steelbook. That was one of the first ones I unboxed actually a couple years ago, and I haven't upgraded because the 4K just came out. And certain movies I don't upgrade. I'm just like, it's all right. I'm not gonna double dip on certain things. Certain things I'll double dip for, but not everything.
Yeah. I I I feel like when I do start getting 4Ks, I'm going to be really, really, really stingy on what ones I get. Like, it has to be a movie that A has incredible like visuals or incredible effects, and then B I have to really love it. So like a John Wick or like a Get Out because it's incredibly incredible visuals, and you just recommended to me now. I really, really want to see what it looks like in 4K.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it looks so good.
Do you think 4K is going to last? And then eventually
Well,
be the main format for everyone?
well, the thing is, I know there actually exist 8K TVs, and I don't know what they're gonna do in terms of that because, the 4K disc, they don't put features on it because the movie file is so big because it's 4K quality. It's 2160p. So it takes up the whole disc. So literally features either get their own disc or they just go right on the Blu-ray, movie. Um, so my thinking is that if they make 8K discs, they're gonna have to be like laser disc size, if you know what a laser disc is, like a really huge
Yeah.
disc. Yeah. So I don't know if they're gonna do that or what, or everything's gonna be, I don't even know if physical media, I don't want to say it, but I don't know if it's gonna be alive in the next 10 years. I hope it is, because I've loved it my whole life. But if physical media isn't around in 10 years, it's probably just going to be all, digital, everything's going to be 8K digital, and hopefully Wi-Fi is way better because Jesus, how big of a file is an 8K? Like my God.
Yeah.
But as far as like, yeah, 4K taking over, I don't know yet because right now, believe it or not, DVDs I think are still the highest selling format out of any of the discs. Blu-ray is second place, I think. and then 4K is in last place because it's either too expensive or people don't have the player. But DVD, I guess, is still reigning supreme somehow. I mean, maybe it's just, I don't know. Tons of people just buy DVDs because they're cheap. I don't know why the reason is, but yeah. I don't think 4K is going to take over anytime soon.
Yeah, like when the DVD thing is, I never realized how many people bought DVDs until I started working at Walmart a while ago. When I first started working at Walmart, no one ever bought any, like, maybe other than one or two people ever bought a Blu-ray, like through me at least, or that I ever seen. It was always DVDs,
Wow,
always.
that's
So
interesting.
I started realizing that like people really don't. A lot of people prefer DVD, and I'd always ask them like, why DVD over Blu-ray? Just like out of curiosity, and out of conversation. And normally the answer would be like, A, they either already had a really big DVD collection, so and they felt there was no point in moving on. And B was they always felt like they couldn't tell the difference in the quality. And I don't know how people can't tell the difference between HD and non-HD.
Yeah, the funny thing is too, because I collected DVDs for the longest time before Blu-rays. I think Blu-ray started it was either 2006 or 2007. But at the time, I was like, oh, it's just a gimmick. I'm just gonna stick to DVDs. Blu-ray, that's a gimmick. I'm not gonna pay that much extra to get a high quality thing. So for the longest time, I was defending DVDs like crazy, and then eventually I was swayed to Blu-ray, and I was like, oh yeah, there is a huge difference, and everything is pretty much now being Blu-ray. Blu-ray started getting bigger, and I was like, okay, I guess this is the way to go now, and I totally get it now. And once 4K took over, I was like, I'm not going to hesitate. I'm going to go to 4K because I know that's going to be the next thing. And look at it now. Every steelbook is like 4K. Yeah, so it's just you got to change with the times, I guess. I still have a lot of my DVDs, and I have nostalgia for certain ones. But when you play them on a 4K TV, they don't look good. They're meant to be played on like an older TV. So unfortunately, I can't enjoy them anymore unless I buy like an old TV. But yeah, it's just the way it is. You just got to kind of change with the times. But yeah.
Yeah, like I think for me, the first time I really, really realized the difference was I was hooking up my PS3 just to see if it still played after I had a PS4. And then when the image popped up, I was in shock at how low quality it looks compared to a PS4 on the same TV. I was just like,
Yeah.
whoa, I can't believe it. And it's crazy because some people can look at a 360p quality and think it looks the exact same as 1080p, and I'm just like, I always notice how the difference is ridiculous. But yeah, now I'm like you, like I said, like except for 4K, just because 4K is a little expensive. But when it comes to like new consoles and stuff, I'm always like, I got to get to the next thing because in a year is going to be outdated to me no matter what.
Well, the thing is too, like just regular Blu-ray still holds up. I mean, I don't know how it's going to be once 8K takes over. But for example, I was
Uh,
watching Superbad the other day, and Superbad was the first Blu-ray we ever bought, and that looks like a 4K to me. Like it looks so good, and that's from like 2007 or whatever. So certain Blu-rays hold up. Like another one I'm thinking of is Split. I know I mentioned Glass earlier, but Split, I don't know what about it, but the cameras they use, that movie looks super high definition. It looks like a
it
4K.
does.
Um, yeah, I don't own the 4K. I kind of wish I do because I want to see how amazing it looks. But the standard Blu-ray, that looks really good. So certain Blu-rays, they're still fine. It's totally fine just to get standard.
Yeah, Split. It's crazy because Split is one of the few films that I have two versions of. I have the Steelbook and the regular Blu-ray version, and it looks like a lot higher quality than some other films that I have in my collection. It's one of those
Yeah.
really, really like standout films when people ask me like what transfers well compared to DVD. That's one, and Monsters Inc.'s another Blu-ray that I think looks incredible
Oh
compared
yeah.
to the
Okay.
DVD. Just because I watched both versions within one weekend, and I could see the difference, and I felt like that was a big difference. But yeah. But so what's the most recent film you've watched, just in general?
Um. Oh, like the thing I watched for the first time most recently.
Not just any movie.
Oh, well, I've been watching. It's not a movie, but I've been binging The Sopranos actually because it's one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm on season 4 right now, near the end of season 4. But I'm trying to think. The last movie I watched, uh, man. Sometimes I'll just put movies on to either fall asleep to or whatever.
Yeah.
I think last night I might have been on Disney Plus watching something. Trying to think. I'm always watching The Irishman, by the way. I know it's 3.5 hours, but I can play that in the background if I'm doing something, and it just flies by. Like the first time I watched it, I felt
Really?
the runtime. Yeah, I felt the runtime the first time I watched it, but now it just flies by. I've probably seen it a ton of times, and I can quote the movie and all kinds of stuff. But I just played in the background all the time. So maybe The Irishman was the last time.
The Irishman was so long for me that I had to watch it in like
In
it's the
parts,
only
yeah.
movie it's the only movie I've ever watched in parts, but I had to because it was so good. But I knew that if I just kept watching it for longer and longer and longer, I would doze off or something would happen just because it was late at night, and I just had to. And I ended up watching it in like in like two halves instead of the complete film at once. But it was
Yeah,
still
the
amazing
first
to
night
me.
the first night I watched it though, I made a whole event out of it. I'm like, oh yeah, The Irishman's out tonight. Martin Scorsese's new movie. It's 3.5 hours. I bought a whole bunch of food. I sat down and watched it, and oh man, it was so good. Like, oh my god, it was a masterpiece.
Yeah, Irishman was fantastic. I remember when I first talked about it with someone else, and I think we talked about it through two classes at school because we were both on freeze, and we just talked about it for 2 hours about how great it was because it's one of those movies you watch and you instantly know, oh yeah, in 10 years people will talk about that movie still. That's going to be a classic for sure. It just has the feeling of a classic. It has like the look of a classic. The Irishman's the one movie that I watched. It wasn't even my favorite movie of last year, but it was the only movie I watched last year that I just knew is going to be something that we're going to talk about forever, pretty much.
Yeah, and what was cool about The Irishman too was it was sort of like a surprise ending for me. The whole last like 20 minutes about getting old and death and mortality. And it's like I did not expect that out of the movie. It really like did something to me. Like I'm actually getting goosebumps talking about it, but because I'm a huge fan of Martin Scorsese and Taxi Driver and Goodfellas, those are my all-time favorite movies of his. So I was so excited for it, and that just totally caught me off guard. And I don't know, it was just so well done and like beautifully made. It just I don't know, it really stuck with me. Like certain movies, they can stick with you, and
Oh
that
yeah, for
really
sure.
surprised me. Yeah, it was like a sort of farewell because I think it's his last. He makes all kinds of mobster movies, but I think this is his last one he's doing probably. So I think that's why he sort of had that whole thing at the end, the theme of death and regretting, not being a good father, I guess, for his character, Robert De Niro's character. But yeah, that was just a very touching thing to me. Like I don't know, it really got me.
Yeah, you're right. I think the end of that film was like what solidified it for me as like, okay, this is one of my favorite films of the year. Um, so yeah, I totally get it. The ending was amazing,
Yeah.
but I think I did the same thing with like the whole event thing last year with Marriage Story instead of Irishman. I made a big thing in Marriage Story because everyone was talking about how much I loved it from like March. Like that movie was getting so much hype, I had to make a big deal out of it. And I remember watching it, and what The Irishman for you is what what Marriage Story was for me. Like that
Oh
movie
yeah.
still sticks with me now
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, it
because
got nominations and everything. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like I love everything about the movie. I like how real it is, and I love how straightforward it is. And the big thing I like about it is, and the thing is that connects with me the most is like before my relationship right now, I've never had a relationship before. So, but going through some of the things and seeing it on screen and done and articulated in such a realistic and like a perfect way where it's perfectly accurate, and like you realize within those characters and within those moments that you even had some of those same issues and arguments, and I think that's why it sticks with me so much, and it changes
Okay.
how I look at my perspective of life in a way.
Okay. I'm gonna watch Marriage Story next. That's been on my list for a while on Netflix. I need to check it out because I just haven't gotten around to it. Yeah, I need to watch that.
Oh, it's so good. It's really, really, really good. And yeah, it's one of my all-time favorite movies now. And it's hard to talk about a movie that you never want to spoil for anyone because it's one of those movies that's that good.
Oh,
You know,
I
like
know the
I can't
feeling.
say
I
too
know the
much.
feeling. I know the feeling. Oh yeah. And it's cool because Criterion's doing they're doing Parasite, they're doing Irishman, and they're doing Marriage Story. So all three are going to get a
Yes,
Criterion.
I'm
So
really
I'm
excited
excited.
about that. I don't have a lot of Criterions. I think I have one. One is the only one I have is Benjamin. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button is the only one I have.
Hmm.
Um, and I know how expensive they are, but Marriage Story is the one that I promised myself that I was going to get straight when it comes out, 100%. It's the one that I'm going to get,
Yeah.
and I'm going to eventually get Irishman. And if I get no other Criterions in my life, as long as I have those two, I'm fine. Even though I
Right.
do want to
Yeah.
get Punch Drunk Love and Silence of the Lambs at some point too.
Hmm.
That's because there is no other Blu-ray for Punch Drunk Love, sadly.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that either. I went to search for a Blu-ray one day, and then my friend told me that the only Blu-ray there is a Criterion, and I was like, oh, it happens to be $60. And at the time, I had like 3 Blu-rays. I wasn't willing to spend that much on one thing at that
Yeah.
time.
Right.
But yeah. So if not Punch Drunk Love, Superbad is the first Blu-ray you ever bought. What was the first like kind of expensive Blu-ray that you bought that you were like when you were kind of questioning whether or not you should do it because of the price, but you did it and how did it feel when you bought it?
Well, the funny thing about Superbad, it was actually I think it was a Christmas gift for my mom. My dad bought it, and we didn't have Blu-ray because it was brand new at the time. We didn't know what the heck it was, honestly. He just grabbed the movie and bought it, and we couldn't play it. And I was explaining to them, yeah, this is a new format. We can't play this. So, it ended up just being in my hands. My dad's just like, you know what, keep it. One day we might have Blu-ray. Just keep it in your room, and I've had it ever since. But for the longest time, I wasn't buying Blu-ray. Like I said, I was still like diehard DVD. So once I started working, I got my first job in 2012, and that's when I started making money. So I was like, oh, now I can buy movies because I get like $10 allowance every week, and we still had a few blockbusters here, like closing blockbusters. So I'd go and buy a bunch of movies or whatever, and we had a Movie Stop, which is similar to GameStop. Those don't exist anymore. But I would buy movies. I would save my allowance and buy DVDs for a good price. And the first time I had money, I was like, okay, now I can buy something expensive. So I think the first thing I bought that was like crazy expensive was, oh man, I'm looking at my whole collection right now. I'm trying to figure out what it was. I know it was something in particular. It might have been the Breaking Bad barrel. I think it was like 200 something dollars
Ooh.
for the complete set. That was back in 2013 when the show finished. Um, so that's when that barrel came out. I bought it on Black Friday, hoping there'd be a sale, and it was a brand new release. So of course there wasn't no sale on it, but I was like kind of hopeful, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy it anyways. So I paid like it was like 200 something. I forget how much, but yeah, I love that thing. It's really cool. It's got a whole bunch of collector's items inside, and I was just really excited because Breaking Bad had just ended and it was my favorite show. And they have a really cool box set that's a barrel, and it's awesome. It's like my prized possession, I guess you could say, out of my whole Blu-rays. Yeah, I think that was the big purchase.
Nice. That collection is really sick. I
Yeah.
remember seeing it for the first time when I was going through back when I used to look through Blu-rays on Amazon and being like, whoa, that collection's insane. And I was like, whoa, that price is insane. And then never again. I haven't seen it since. I think it's a little more rare now. So I rarely ever see it now. So that's cool.
That's another thing too about collecting movies. Certain steelbooks turn rare, and it's like they're worth quite a bit. Because like I know some of the MCU steelbooks are rare. Like the Thor: The Dark World one is like that was pretty pricey because that's one I didn't have, and I had to go buy it off eBay a couple years ago, and I had to pay quite a bit for it. So I don't even know what it's worth now, but certain steelbooks become pricey. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like the one that I was talking to you about earlier, the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That one I didn't even know how rare it was because I got it for like $10, and then when I searched up on eBay, when I got it, there was no listings for it, and then all the sold listings, there was one sold listing for like $130, something crazy. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what? And the only other listing was my listing, and I never realized how ridiculously rare some things can be.
So you got it for a
That
good
and one,
price then, $10.
oh yeah, I got it for a really good price. I didn't even realize how good of a price. I just put a random offer in. And he was like, sure, and I
Yeah.
got it in 2 days too. So, oof. And you never realize. Another thing is, I realize with collected movies is you never realize how valuable people value slipcovers.
Oh, that's another thing too. Oh my God. If I could get slipcovers for all my A24 movies, that'd be nice. Some of them don't have it. Yeah,
I
I
know,
agree. Like the
because like,
Babadook slipcover.
yeah, that one is gorgeous. I can
Yeah.
never found it in person. And I totally feel on the A24 thing because before I started going back and buying old A24 movies, I bought like every new A24 movie when that was on release that actually came to my town back when I first started watching movies and when I was in my big Blu-ray buying stage. So like
Yeah.
I got the slipcover for Midsummer, but that was a recent one, but like Eighth Grade, mid '90s, Florida Project, Disaster Artist, what else? Hereditary and stuff like that. But then I have like a copy of Most Violent Year that I got for $5, but there was no copy of the slipcover at all online. So it kind of irks me every time I look at it, just because I'm like, oh, I wish I had a slipcover for that. But
Yeah, it's
whew,
funny because it's just like a piece of paper, but people
yeah,
don't get it. Collectors, they need to have it because slipcovers can be glossy, they can be, they can have all kinds of stuff. They can have different artwork, it's just a really cool little thing that, it doesn't need to exist per se. It doesn't really serve a purpose, but it's still a cool thing, It makes it like a collector's piece sort of.
yeah, yeah, I get on. Like the main reason I like them is because of like I feel like they pop out like the artwork
Yeah.
beautifully. Like the Saint Vincent slipcover, without the slipcover, it looks just like a regular Blu-ray with a slipcover. It almost looks like a special edition because of how bright and like bright
Yeah.
looking just catches your eye. But yeah, and like I never realized how valuable they were until one day. Me and my friend, just for fun, we went through all of our Blu-rays. This is when I had half of what I have now, or I wouldn't be able to do it now. But we searched them all up on eBay to see what price they were for each and how valuable. And then there was one, it was Beautiful Boy, with the slipcovers, like worth $100 or something. So I sold mine, and I was able to get it sold for like $80. I only paid $20 for it, and I was so shocked. And the person messaged me and said, "Yeah, the reason why is because the slipcover. They never released the movie with a slipcover in the U.S., so it's the only way I can get
Uh,
it." And I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" And then finally, I realized how big the world of Blu-ray is, and how like certain editions only come out in certain places. Like that beautiful Dark Knight Steelbook can only be found in Korea. It's like,
yeah, I
and it's
actually
just like really
recently
interesting.
Yeah, I recently looked up like what's the most expensive steelbook, like what's the most rare one. Apparently there's a steelbook for like Wolf of Wall Street. I don't remember where I saw this, but somebody like posted, "Oh yeah, there's this Wolf of Wall Street steelbook from like I don't know where it is. But it's like worth like thousands." I'm like, "What the heck is that thing made of?"
Dang,
Cuz Jesus.
that's a lot. I know the Dark Knight one's really expensive too. Like the Korean editions, I think all three are worth $1,000 each.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think that's actually the first steelbook I ever seen in a video of someone unboxing the Korean Dark Knight edition, and I was like, "That thing's beautiful. I'm gonna start buying steelbooks."
Hmm.
But yeah, it's crazy how like things that people view as not that important, and other people think, and even I don't even view like Blu-rays as a money thing, can be valued as high as they can be.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like I always like say to myself is like, okay, I'm only gonna buy the movies I want. I don't ever plan on selling anything really, unless it's like I upgrade a movie and I want to just sell the older version. I don't hold any value to the old one or whatever. But like, I don't plan on selling any of my stuff. Like unless I'm like, desperate for money somehow, I go broke somehow, and I have no other choice. And that's the same thing with Funko Pops. Like I have a ton of pops that are worth a lot, but I don't ever plan on selling them because I just buy the ones I want, and that's for my collection, and that's just how I want it, But some people do, they're opposite. They'll buy stuff and just sell it immediately for more, for more money. Flippers or whatever. They'll buy
Yeah,
up all the steelbooks for like, I remember Guardians Volume 1 back in 2014 when that steelbook came out. I was there at Best Buy like an hour after it opened. I was there and all the steelbooks were gone. Some guy grabbed all of them and sold them all. And now that steelbook is worth a ton of money. And I was so mad that I missed out on it. So, but I ended up buying one off eBay later on. But yeah, some people just sell stuff, and that's just how they do it. I just view it as collecting, and this is my hobby. And you know what? I love my stuff. I'm never going to get rid of it.
yeah, I feel you because like I remember they did that with Logan like a lot. Like I remember the price for the Logan Steelbook randomly jumped up from $50 to $100 everywhere because everyone bought it out just to sell
Hmm.
it. And see, I only sell because like I buy everything because I buy anything that looks interesting that I would want to watch since like movies really aren't that expensive and if I can get the money to buy them then and add to the collection I always like to have things that either A look interesting to watch that I could enjoy or B I just love so much I want to support so I have a bunch
Hmm.
of stuff and then sometimes I watch something I don't like and it might be worth a lot of money so I'll just that's why I do a Beautiful Boy I'll just sell it if it's worth money and I don't like it I don't need it I guess I'll get rid of
Exactly.
it but I never buy anything just to sell. I don't see the point
Yeah,
in that.
yeah. I'm never gonna imagine myself going somewhere on the release day and grabbing every single copy and buying all of them and then
Yeah,
selling. That's no, I can't do that. That is not me at all. Like Jesus.
I know. Oh Lord, that's what
Yeah,
that's the one thing that sucks when you gotta like try so hard to get there before other people just so you can even see
I
a version of
know.
it in person.
Yeah, like I know the
Like
struggle is real, but come on,
yeah,
people got to give people a chance.
right. Like with the
Yeah.
Bill and Ted Steelbook, I remember there was like a bunch of copies, and like the next day there was like two copies, and I was gonna wait a week to buy it, but then I knew I had to buy it right then and there, or it was gone. So and
That's another thing too. Yeah, you just reminded me. People always say, I missed out on this, I missed out on this. The way I do it, I don't risk going to the store anymore because I know something's going to get sold out right away. So I always pre-order in advance. That's the way to go, in my opinion. Like I kind of miss the novelty of going on release day to grab something, but nowadays everybody just grabs them all up and sells them. So I don't take that risk anymore, especially with the channel. I try to unbox new releases when they come out or a couple days early, whatever. So I need to pre-order them and get them, by mail. So yeah, that's just how it is nowadays.
yeah, I know. Like with me, I've stopped going to the stores for regular Blu-rays now. Like if there's a regular Blu-ray release, I just go on eBay mainly because like they're cheaper on there anyway nowadays. But also just like it X's out the whole hassle of trying to get something that a lot of people want and then having to like come back another day if it's gone that day and I think online shopping is like has become a lot more of a convenient thing for a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, another question I wanted to ask you was, have you ever been sent something from like another company before? Like that they wanted you to like talk about or that they wanted you to unbox or anything?
Yeah, so people ask me this all the time too. They're like, "Do you get stuff for free?" I've always said this. Every single thing on my channel, every Funko Pop, every Blu-ray, every CD, whatever I've unboxed, I've paid for every single thing. There's only been two exceptions. The movie Yesterday, the Beatles movie, that came out last year, Universal sent that to me. They're like, "Hey, we want to send you this if you want to review it, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Okay, cool, I'll take it." Um, so that was free. But the big one that just happened recently, they made an Avatar: The Last Airbender steelbook set, and Paramount messaged me. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna send you this. You want to review it?" I'm like, "Absolutely." The thing's worth like $90, and I'm like, "You're gonna send me that for free?" Oh my god, I'm just incredibly humbled right now. Um, so I unboxed that thing, and those were the only two things I've ever gotten for free. And I just want to put that out there because people always are like, "Oh, you probably get stuff sent." And it's not true. They're always like, "How do you get stuff early?" I get stuff early because Best Buy is great with shipping. Everything usually comes 3 days early, and I'm not complaining. So just do what do what I do. Buy from them. That's all I can say. I mean, I don't know. But I gotta talk about real quick the Avatar Steelbook set. I was very honest in that video about not knowing much about Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I got a lot of comments kind of like critiquing me
Really?
about that. And people are like, "This guy doesn't deserve this. He got a $90 set free, and he doesn't know what he has in his possession, and all this stuff." Hey, people, I will check this out eventually and watch the whole thing. You just got to understand, somebody sent me this. I'm going to honor their giving them this to me for free. They didn't have to do that. I'm going to be nice and be honest about this and show you the product. That's what this is for. Um, so I just want to put that out there because people complain about the dumbest things ever, and I just think it's ridiculous. But yeah, those are the only two things I've ever got sent for free.
That's crazy. Yeah. And like, I know what you're saying. Like, because even though I'm a lot smaller, I've had things like where I make a review on like a really prestigious director's movie, and then people are telling me like, "Oh yeah, you can't even make an opinion on this because you never watched this film or that film." And I'm like, "Listen, man, why do I got to watch all those other films that have nothing to do with this one?" Like with with
Right.
Scorsese,
Yeah.
I get all the time like, "Well, if you never watched Taxi Driver, then how can you talk about Goodfellas?" And I'm like, "Are they connected?" Like, I mean,
No, they're very different. Those
and
two
like
are very
I
different.
have them. I'm eventually gonna watch it because I found the digibook for $8, and it's amazing collection, and I want to understand it more by actually knowing what's in the movie. But
Hmm.
yeah, I know. I totally. I feel like people are like they're always focused on something else than the thing that you're actually talking about. Sometimes it's like I'm talking about the steel book, not the show.
Yeah, and hmm yeah, another thing that comes with the territory when you're making YouTube videos, you're always going to get negative comments. It's inevitable. You could be the most wholesome person ever, and still somehow someone's going to
Yeah,
be thumbs down. You know what I mean? Like the way I look at it, it's like you can literally go on YouTube analytics and pull up, your likes versus dislikes. And I looked at my lifetime likes versus dislikes. You can actually pull up your all-time, amount of people that have clicked that. And I think my ratio is like 96.3 or something. Like I looked at it the other day. So 96.3 of all thumbs up or thumbs down are thumbs up. So that's really good. So those few people that are clicking dislike, just being a-holes, you can just totally ignore that because it's so insignificant.
yeah,
You know what I mean? To the grander scheme of things, like a ton of, not like I said, 96% of all my reactions have been thumbs up. So you can't just dwell on negativity, I guess you could say. It's inevitable, people want to leave mean comments, but most of it is positivity, which is good. So that's what you should focus on, really. I just want to,
yeah. The
give
way
people
I've
that
always
advice
seen it is
more than
like
anything.
you can always tell like there's two ways to look at it. Like there's two different ways people use the dislike button. One is one type is people that may not actually like the video and just want to tell you, hey, we don't like this video. Maybe you should try working on it or something. And then two is just someone randomly leaving a dislike just because they can. Like there's so much. Then more often it's the
Yeah.
random people that like randomly leaving dislike just because they see a video gets a lot of likes. That happens actually like a lot in the world of YouTube.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Sucks
But,
too.
um, next thing I wanted to ask you was because I asked this to the same question to someone that makes a lot of music nowadays, or that I know that makes a lot of music. And I want to ask you the same thing because it's kind of similar in the terms of the way
Mhm.
they you have to post your videos. But how did you jump that hurdle of just confidence in general from wanting to make a video to actually making a video and posting it?
Um, Well, the thing of that is, so the first video I ever uploaded on this channel that I'm doing now, because I have an old channel from 2007 I mentioned, but I don't use that. This channel, I uploaded. It was in 2015. It was an unboxing of Black Ops 3 actually. So it was a video game. I don't really do video games that often. But the whole idea originally was I was going to do gameplay videos because I thought that would be a good idea. And, the PS4 has a built in, live streaming thing and stuff like that. And I'm pretty good at playing zombies too. At least I was back in the day, not so much anymore. So I was like, let me do that, and I thought, let me do an unboxing first and then do the gameplay because I was a huge fan of unboxings. So it was kind of awkward at first because I'd never done anything like that. So I was just kind of just trying to do what I could. I didn't have a tripod. I didn't have proper lighting. Everything now is like way more sophisticated. I got a whole backdrop. I got everything. But wait, making the first video was kind of weird, because I'm just like, hey, here's the video game. Open it up, and there you go. And I'm gonna do some gameplays now. And um, but yeah, I don't know. You just gotta get used to the camera. Is my best advice. Like, I don't know. Like right now, I'm just sitting in my room talking to somebody over the phone. But you gotta kind of imagine it like that. Like there's no one watching while you're filming, but later on, thousands of people are gonna look at it. So you don't really have that nervousness because like if you do like a presentation in front of a classroom, you're nervous because you got like 20 eyes staring at you directly in front of you. And to this day, I still get nervous presenting, even though I can make a YouTube video and have 100,000 views on it and it's no problem, just because no one's there looking at me. It's just you just gotta imagine no one's looking at you right now, so it's okay. I don't know. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, I think that's good advice for sure because like everyone I've ever talked to about that, I think it has like that same similar answer. You just gotta like keep going until you're used to it. Like for me, I made so many videos and songs and stuff like that that I made that I've never put out there, and then eventually I got used to it enough to the point where I could just finally put something out there into the world and be like, hey, if people see it, they see it. If people don't see it, they don't see it. Who cares now? And now I'm just like nonchalant about it.
Do you make like songs with
Oh
you
no, no,
play
no, 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 no,
instruments?
no. I'm not. I
Uh,
used to make songs for fun, and B, I like to write songs a lot. So I write a lot of lyrics, and I used to.
uh-huh.
Well, sometimes I like to rap and sing and stuff, but I'm not very. It's not like a big thing for me. It used to be, but it's not a big thing of me anymore. I do write a lot of stories and stuff though that I'm trying to put out there in the world now. But yeah, I'm not a
Okay,
big.
that's cool. Yeah, because a lot of my friends, they're like, they play instruments, and I've never been able to play an instrument. So anytime I meet somebody that can play an instrument, I just think it's really fascinating because I can't learn anything. I've tried.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
it's cool.
Instruments are so hard to learn. I'm gonna try to learn how to play the keyboard soon, and I don't think I'll ever actually really have the hang of that. But yeah, I tried learning to play the guitar in the past, and I was just it was too frustrating for me for some reason. I just couldn't do it. It's just one of those things that I know it wasn't for me.
Yeah. Hmm.
But yeah. So you play a lot of video games because you were talking about Black Ops 3. So you play a lot of video games within the recently with the whole quarantine thing.
Well, the thing is with me in video games, I've said this many times in like other videos, and people know this. I kind of just fell out of video games. I just completely lost interest. I don't know what happened, but like back in high school, me and my friends were playing video games all the time with each other. But I don't know what it is. Just something happened recently to me because everyone's playing Fortnite now, right? And my best friends they play Fortnite, and they're trying to get me to play because they got Xbox, I got PlayStation, and they're like, "Oh, it's cross compatible now, so play with us." And I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I don't know what happened. I just totally fell out of it. But recently, actually yesterday, I was playing this. I was playing The Last of Us just because the new game's coming out, and yes, the quarantine, so I need to find something to do. But yeah, I wanted to play The Last of Us again, and that's a great game. So I haven't played video games in a long time, but I just happened to be playing The Last of Us for the past few days.
The
So
Last of
yeah.
Us is fantastic. I mean, it's one of my favorite story
Hmm.
games. But yeah, I get what you're saying because I have that same thing when it comes to video games but it's different for me because I can have like a year where I won't play any games at all, and just for some reason I'm just not into it. I just won't play games. I don't have any um, urge to play, and then for a couple months I want to play like video games all the time, and then I stop, and then I keep. It's just something for me that I don't know what it is about video games, but every once in a while, I'm in and out.
Yeah, and by the way, did you hear about the leaks of the second Last of Us game that's coming out in June? There's
No,
leaks.
I have not.
Have you heard about that? Oh, don't look at
Okay.
it. Don't look at it. I won't say what it is, but a lot of people are not happy, and
Oh,
the game's probably not going to do well
are you
because the
talking
leaks
about
are.
the
Yeah.
girlfriend leak?
Oh no, 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 no. It's not that. That's no big deal
Oh,
compared to
really? Is the
like
leak that bad? Ooh.
yeah. It's pretty. Yeah, it's. I hope somehow it's fake. I mean, I don't think it is. It seems legit. But yeah, there's this whole controversy going on with that game right now. But I'm still interested though. That's why I started replaying the first one. I'm still probably gonna get it. I just want to see. But the leaks are
I
crazy.
won't. See,
Don't look at
I'm
them.
actually really good at staying away from rumors, leaks, or even spoilers when I want to watch or play something. So I'm pretty good at that. That's why I haven't seen any of the rumors. But now I'm really interested and kind of want to play Last of Us 2 right when it comes out. But
Hmm.
but yeah, I'm pretty good at staying away from those, even though like I literally stayed. I think I didn't go to school for a whole day the weekend after the weekend Endgame came out because I wasn't able to see it during the weekend. And I was like, nope, I'm not listening to spoilers before I watch this movie. So I go to
Oh my God, Endgame was the ultimate like I have to see this night one or else I'm
yeah,
screwed. Like there's because I feel like in this day and age someone's gonna spoil it right away. So I was like I have to somehow because I know it crashed the website when you went to buy tickets the first night, the first day it went on sale, and that happened to me. But I was able to get some thankfully, and yeah, I mean certain movies you just have to see night one because they're gonna get spoiled for
yeah,
you.
especially yeah. So for me, I really wanted to see Endgame opening weekend because I seen all the other Avengers movies opening weekend, right? So I just really wanted to see Endgame opening weekend, but holy was it
Yeah.
hard. It was literally the worst weekend for me because I had stuff to do and then also the fact that theaters were filled no matter where you went. Even in this small town, everyone was going to see it. So I just gave it some time and I watched it the Monday of the next week. But yeah, it is so hard to. It was ridiculously hard to avoid spoilers for that movie after everyone's seen it. I'm telling you. If I did go to school, I would have had it spoiled.
Right. And it's crazy the difference. Yeah, and it's crazy too the difference a year makes because last April when Endgame came out, theaters were packed for like 24 hours straight. How many days a week? I don't know. And then April 2020, have
Yeah.
been closed. Like it's crazy. Like this, it's so nuts.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
crazy to think because like we're coming up on like what would have been so many big movie releases that would have been huge and really feels like nothing's out right now. For the first time, honestly, in my life, not my life, but
I know.
since I started watching movies, it's probably the first time since I started watching that it feels like literally nothing's happening in the world of movies right now, other than random DC talk. That's about it.
Yeah. Hmm.
With that being said, I actually want to ask you this because we talked about it on one of my other podcasts as well. What is your thoughts on the Flash controversy earlier this year?
Wait, are you
Yeah.
referring to Ezra Miller, the actor who choked out a
Yes.
woman supposedly? Okay. Um, Yeah, that was interesting. That kind of faded away. Like I heard about it a couple I think it was last month, and I haven't heard anything since. Like I haven't heard him has
I
he
don't think
released a
so.
statement? Has anything been explained? Like what
I
happened
think
with
it straight went away.
that?
But
It
the
just disappeared
weirdest part is Warner Bros. Still
now?
opened
That is
up for a possibility of a recast, even though it went away. That's why I'm talking about it, because like,
okay. The whole thing yeah, the DCEU is so screwed up right now because Ben Affleck is gone as Batman. Henry Cavill is supposedly gone as Superman. Ezra Miller, I guess now, is gone as Flash. I think Cyborg is gone too, the actor or something. Justice League was a mess of a movie. I mean, it's all over the place. So like, I don't know what they're gonna do now. I mean, Birds of Prey, I love that movie, but as far as the series goes, what are they gonna do? I mean, I'm looking forward to the Batman, but I don't know. As far as the
yeah, the
universe, it's
universe
kind of
is
messed up.
well, they kind of doomed the universe because they made the mistake of making all the TV shows the way they did first, and then all of a sudden we had like these different versions of different characters like on TV and then in these movies that you never met before and there's like all these different versions of the same character and it kind of got messy and people stopped like a lot of people that's why DC doesn't make as much money as MCU or MCU is like a lot more cleaner and it's a lot more of a real like functioning universe compared to DCU and then with DCU as well you never know what they're gonna do. Like they're making a Suicide Squad 2, but Jared Leto's never playing Joker again. And there's just a new Joker movie outside of the series, and it's like, why are you making a reboot of Suicide Squad that just came out a couple years ago? It doesn't make any sense. How does that help your situation right now?
Yeah, it's weird. Like I don't know if it's gonna be a reboot though, because it's still well, I guess it is a reboot in a way because it's James Gunn's doing his take on it. But yeah, I mean, Margot Robbie's still gonna be in it as Harley Quinn, so I'm looking forward to it. And James Gunn, he's a great director, so it should be a good movie. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Jared Leto's fully gone though. I feel like he might
I
come back sometime because Suicide Squad, the first one, it's a bad movie. I like it, but I feel like he got kind of screwed because the movie had reshoot problems and too many
oh
cooks in the
yeah, for
kitchen. You know what
sure.
I mean? Like too many people were involved in making that movie. So yeah, he didn't get really much screen time in the movie because God knows what. But
He is a really
he's a
good
good
actor.
actor. So maybe someday he'll come back as Joker. Yeah, and do a good
Yeah. The only
performance.
reason I
Who
said
knows?
it is because there was like a lot of reports about how Jared Leto was upset because Warner Bros. Told him they didn't want him anymore as Joker. Plus all the kind of cast harassing he did that didn't really help his reputation there either for that character. So,
Yeah.
you never know though with Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Aren't very good at handling controversy. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
But yeah, I'm excited to a certain extent for the new Suicide Squad too, just because like I think it's interesting to see like what somebody else would do with it and where they would take it. I just think it's a little too early for me. That's my only thing.
Yeah, because it's coming out in next year. So that's 5 years since. Wow, I can't believe 2016 is 5 years ago
Right.
already. Jeez, time's just flying. But yeah, 5 years between. Yeah. Well, also, talk about quick. Amazing Spider-Man 2 was 2014, and then Tom Holland as Spider-Man was 2016 in Civil War. So that's only 2 years between Spider-Man. So that's
Yeah,
not
it
a
is.
bad
I
thing. You know
feel
what I
like
mean?
that.
So Marvel's guilty.
Yeah, I feel like with the superhero world that stuff like this happens a lot, and now it's like way more noticeable. I mean, like how many Batmans have we had? Like how many Batmans are we gonna have within the last 10 years
Oh
with the Batman? It's like, especially if you count like animated Batmans, but obviously it's kind of a storm when you go into that. But
what I love too about, people pick on the X-Men series, but I've always loved that Hugh Jackman played Logan for like almost 20 years, consistently. And that was awesome. I love that certain superheroes have, lasted a long time with one actor. Like Iron Man obviously was, a good 11 years. And sometimes nowadays things are just getting rebooted way too quick and you don't get a chance to get to know, what an actor could have done with that character. So it's just
yeah,
unfortunate, I guess.
yeah, I completely agree with that too, and I like that especially with the X-Men is that Wolverine was the most important character in that whole universe and was pretty much the thing that was keeping it together. Yet even without a current, technically like a current Wolverine right now, there's no mention really of like who's going to be the next Wolverine, or there's no rumors coming out. There's no casting rumors. It feels like they understand that once a character's run its course, that they can move on from that character and eventually bring it back maybe in the future. But like there's time that they can take away from that character and build something else. That's what I really liked about Fox, even though Fox no longer has the rights to X-Men.
Yeah. Poor, the New Mutants, that
I
poor movie is never going to come out. It was so close to coming out. So close. And then the virus just had to just
That
delay it
movie's
one more
cursed.
time. Oh my God, that
100%
poor movie.
cursed. Like I
Yeah.
remember the
Jeez.
fact that trailer came out in 2017 and we're in 2020 and the movie's like basically confirmed.
Yeah.
Like it's going. If anything, it will be. It's going to streaming. If there's one thing that I can be okay with going to streaming is the New Mutants, because like let this thing exist, please. I just
I'm
want to see it so
yeah.
bad.
I'm like yeah, I'm so surprised they didn't just release it straight to digital already. I'm like waiting, like just do it. You put
Right.
Onward right on digital like a week after it came out. Just put New Mutants. God, let this movie breathe,
I agree. I couldn't believe when they put Onward out that fast. I thought
I couldn't
everything
even
was going to happen that fast too. I've been
Yeah.
waiting for the New Mutants digital release. I searched it up every day to see if it's out yet. I'm like New Mutants digital release. 'Cause I'm like once it's out, I'm watching it for sure. I've been waiting for
Yeah.
like 3 years.
and people like to pick on it, but it could be a
Yeah.
good movie though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't
Yeah,
know.
and
It
even
might
if it's
actually be
bad, it
good.
looks
Yeah.
so unique compared to most superhero films that like that's enough of a green light for me. It's like if you can do something different and interesting, then that's good enough to make me want to watch it.
Yeah, it's sort of like a horror movie too, and it's like a different take on the characters. So, I'm interested in that. And they just released pictures of like, I don't know if you saw, there's like the villain in the movie is like a creepy, smiley, demon-looking thing. I don't know. They just released pictures of it, and
I
it
know.
looks
I just want to
interesting.
watch it so bad at this point. Like, just let it out. Put it on Disney Plus. I don't care. I'll watch it.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, with Disney Plus, what is your? I know you did a Disney Plus review. What is your like after with time being given and everything? What is your perspective on Disney Plus and like its everlastingness? Like how long you think it's going to be able to last and compete with other bigger streaming networks? So like still Netflix is a bigger streaming uh, brand than Disney Plus, and do you think it will
Mhm.
ever be on the same level of Netflix? And if so, how long?
Well, the thing with Disney Plus, I'll mention real quick with that review. They totally fixed all my few negatives I had. Like they finally put, resume the episode here. They put, on the homepage all the shows you're currently watching and all that stuff, and all the little nitpicks I had, they're totally fixed now. So the app is pretty much flawless for me. Um, but as far as like being big, I think if they keep it, because the thing is, it's extremely
Yeah,
cheap. Like they're eventually going to raise the price. I mean, it's inevitable. But if they keep it at that price for a good while, I think it could somehow get to the same level as Netflix. Maybe. I mean, that's kind of crazy to say because Netflix has been around for a long time. But with stuff like The Mandalorian and especially, oh my God, the MCU shows that are going to go on there, like the Loki show, and once that stuff goes on there, because they're canon to the movies, and in order to understand what's going on in the film series, you need to watch the shows also. So once those start hitting, oh yeah, it's going to get big. So I think if they keep the price low for now, and with that, yeah, it'll get huge. And I love Disney Plus honestly because you can see everything, As far as, like I said, I like to always nitpick, like, oh, back in the day, you couldn't watch all this stuff. Disney had the quote unquote vault. It's going back in the vault. They'd release movies and then in stores so you could buy the DVD, and then they say, okay, buy it now before it goes back in the vault. It was like this imaginary thing where you won't see a Disney movie on shelves for years. But now the vault doesn't exist anymore because you go on Disney Plus and everything's there. So yeah, it's just it's a great app, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, we're so spoiled nowadays. We have so much stuff we can watch. I don't know. I'm a cranky old man.
yeah. The only problem, because I love Disney Plus too, and I think works functionally really well on the phone. My only big issue is that it that it's kind of dysfunctional on the PlayStation. I don't know if you use it on your PlayStation a lot or not, but on my PlayStation it always glitches.
Oh yeah, I started doing it. Yeah, you know what's weird? You just reminded me. I totally forgot about this. I was using it on the Amazon Fire Stick for like the longest time, and like last month, for some reason, the app doesn't open anymore. Like, well, it opens, but it doesn't get past the loading screen. And I'm looking this up online, and everybody has problems with it on the Amazon Fire Stick for some reason. And you can reinstall the app, I'll do all kinds of stuff, restart your Fire Stick, whatever, but it won't work. Something's wrong with it. So now I just start using it on my PlayStation, and there are a couple problems. Like sometimes I'll watch something and it'll start like free, like it'll like the camera will freeze for a second. It's weird. It's like it doesn't freeze,
The
but
audio
like
keeps going.
everything stops moving for a split second and then it catches
Yeah,
up. Yeah, it's weird, but I don't know. They need to fix their little
yeah.
technical
That's
problems.
the only reason I can't use it because when it first came out, it was so frequent that every single time you watched it, it would pause for like a minute, and then like the audio would keep playing, and then yeah, the picture would do that thing where it goes just like fast forwards to where it's at, and that's the only problem that I had with it. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think I agree with what you said though about like the low prices and then the quality and the popularity of their shows and eventually growing because of that, right? Like with the connection between the MCU movies and the shows, and I agree that it's going to be really big too. It's already really big, but bigger.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right, another question. what Netflix show or movie that you watch that you love that isn't released on DVD or Blu-ray right now that you would love to see get like a nice collector's edition that you would pick up instantly?
All right, well, I instantly thought Irishman because it's getting a Criterion, and that's a Netflix original movie. But besides that, like, trying to think. Oh, El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie. I want a physical release of that with features and everything. And I know Sony puts out good products, so I'd love to get an El Camino, you know, the Breaking Bad movie. I'd love to get a physical of that at some point. And that movie was awesome in my opinion. Some people didn't
Yeah,
like
I
it.
couldn't
I
believe
really
why
liked
so
it.
many people didn't like it because it took me a while to finally watch it. And the first time I watched it, I wasn't in the state to watch a movie, and it was like, I don't know, it felt boring to me for some reason. I turned it off, and then I watched it again like a month later, so it was way after the hype, and I was like, holy, this movie's incredible. I don't know what it was, but every single moment I thought was fantastic, mainly because it's shot incredibly well. So, it's a beautiful film to look at, but the story was fantastic.
Oh yeah, they use 4K cameras. Yeah, they use 4K cameras on that. So going from the regular TV show quality, which still is good, but watching it in full movie quality was like interesting to see all these characters, look like that in a film. And it was really well done, really well made. And I think people's most, complaint about it was like, oh, the movie wasn't really necessary. I mean, Jesse still ended up driving off or whatever into the sunset or whatever. I mean, I thought it was a cool little epilogue sort of, and I love the little my favorite part of the movie was spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, but the cameo by Walt, that flashback. I love that scene. It was
Oh
so
yeah, that
good.
was amazing.
Except yeah, except for the obvious bald cap he was wearing, but that was really cool. Yeah.
I mean, listen, great movies have some of those moments every once in a while, like in The Irishman when um, that fight scene that didn't look amazing. It's the only flaw in that entire film, basically.
Oh, I know
It
what you mean. I know what you mean.
was I remember laughing about that with my friend for like 10 minutes. We're like, yeah, this movie's incredible, it's a masterpiece, but that one scene, I can never get that out of my mind.
Yeah. Oh my god, Al Pacino's so funny in that movie too. He's so loud and screaming. Oh my god,
It
so
is. It
funny.
really is. Ugh. Um, aside from horror, actually, let's talk about horror again. What's your favorite subgenre of horror?
Um, I guess horror comedy because Shaun of the Dead is I literally quote Shaun of the Dead on a daily basis with my sister. I hope she might be hearing me right now, but we quote Shaun of the Dead all the time. It is so good. And Return of the Living Dead's another example. Evil Dead 2. Horror comedy is underrated in my opinion. I guess you could say Scary Movie is a
Yeah,
horror comedy. But yeah, that's a really good combination, I think. It's like scary and funny combined. It's just really good.
yeah.
You
I
know.
think that I got way more into horror comedy over the last few years. They made like there's a lot of really, really, really quality like horror comedy films that you wouldn't expect to be as good as they are. Like Little Monsters was really good. I really enjoyed that
Mhm.
one.
Yeah.
But I've never seen Shaun of the Dead. I've seen Hot Fuzz, and Shaun of the Dead is on Netflix now, so I'm gonna watch it. But right when I was gonna watch it, two people talked to me about it because they both watched it and they both said it was really bad, and I was like, I don't want to go in with a bad vibe, so I'll watch another day.
Oh, they have no idea. Shaun of the Dead's literally one of the best. It's one of the best written movies of all time. One of the best scripts. I'm telling you, it is so good. Everything is quotable. Everything's memorable. It's so fun. You can literally watch the movie at any time. I'm telling you, like it's in my top 20 for sure. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead is like a
And I think I'm
masterpiece.
gonna watch that movie tonight because I was gonna figure out what I had to watch tonight. And I think it's gonna be that because it looks good, and I love Hot Fuzz.
I'll watch Marriage Story.
What?
I'll watch Marriage
Yes,
Story.
gotta watch Marriage Story. It's so good. But whew, yeah, yeah, watch Hot Fuzz, and that's really really well done. And um, I hear that you gotta watch Shaun of the Dead if you watch Hot Fuzz. So I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah, it's like a sort of trilogy. Yeah, it's like an unofficial trilogy. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then The
Yeah,
World's End. World's End isn't as good as the other two, but they're very solid. Edgar Wright's
Yeah,
a
he's
great director, so
fantastic.
yeah, watch all three eventually. But Shaun of the Dead is amazing. Yeah, he's good.
Um, I just watched Moonrise Kingdom. Have you ever seen the movie before?
Oh, that's Wes Anderson. I actually have the Criterion of that because I'm trying to get into like Wes Anderson's movies. But I haven't watched it
Oh
yet.
dang! I was gonna say, what was your favorite Wes Anderson film?
Grand Budapest Hotel, and that's the only one I've seen actually. So people listening to this, don't kill me, but that's the only one I've watched. I'm trying to get into his other stuff. Like I bought that, and I bought Fantastic Mr.
Well,
Fox
yeah, I
also.
gotta watch
So
Fantastic Mr. Fox. I've only seen two Wes Anderson films. I've seen Moonrise and then I've seen Isle of Dogs. Those are the only two I've seen.
yeah,
But I feel like, yeah, I was just gonna say because you can feel his style and like just those two movies alone, you can feel that like Wes Anderson touch in both those films. Who's like your favorite director when it comes to when you watch one of his movies, you know it's made by that director without even knowing beforehand. Like you can watch a movie and you know that the
oh yeah,
movie made by them.
yeah. That's an auteur. An auteur is a person. Yeah, you watch it and you know who it is without being told ahead of time. Like I think for me though, I always say Stanley Kubrick's the greatest director of all time, but like if I'm being honest, like I mentioned David Fincher, Martin Scorsese. Um, Maybe Martin Scorsese might be my all-time favorite, but I guess I could say Stanley Kubrick because he made movies like nobody else, and he only made like 10 movies total, but or 11, whatever it is, but his movies are so unique and artsy, and he puts so much detail into all his movies, and there's so many hidden subtext meanings, and I don't know, he was unlike anybody else, and I'm pretty sure he's so crazy that he died 666 days before 2001 on purpose because he made the movie 2001, and I don't know, there's so many conspiracy theories about that man, but he's unlike anybody else. So yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I think mine is Scorsese, as you mentioned, or like Tarantino or something. But
Mhm.
yeah, I gotta watch.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many movies like that I need to watch that I like 2001 I gotta watch and Shining I still have to watch, but I'm gonna wait till I get the Doctor Sleep Blu-ray and then watch both of them together. So, have you seen Doctor Sleep?
Yeah, Doctor Sleep was good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, yeah, it was a pretty good sequel. Pretty much honored Stanley Kubrick and also Stephen King at the same time. But The Shining is, it's a classic, so it kind of took some balls to make a sequel to that.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was really well done. Ian McGregor,
yeah.
awesome.
I heard it was really good, and people keep telling me I gotta watch it. So I'm putting off watching because I was gonna watch The Shining before I went to go see Doctor Sleep in the theater. I just never got the time to go see it in the theater anyway. So since I never had a planned time, I was like, I'll just wait till Blu-ray comes out and watch both of them then. But ugh,
Hmm.
sometimes you have Blu-rays that you just don't want to open because they're so valuable to me, and that Shining lenticular for some reason is one of those for me, even though I really want to watch it.
Oh, you have some that are sealed.
Yeah,
You mean that you don't open
yeah.
that are sealed? Oh,
I
okay.
do it with the
Yeah.
lenticular, so I never want to get the lenticular scratch, and sometimes I do it with a steelbook. But yeah, the Stephen King ones are those horror films like The Shining and all the releases that came in with Warner Bros. Last year. I have them all sealed right now. I'm trying to get other copies of them that I'll watch
Okay,
that
that's
are
cool.
cheaper, like basic versions of them, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah. Um, we talked a lot about the DCU a bit there with like how messy it is and everything. So with that, in comparison, how much of it better is the MCU than the DCU in terms of just it's a it's creation of a universe?
Oh, it's like night and day. Oh my God. It's like, yeah, it's, oh my God. I mean, like I said, the only two DCEU movies that I really, really like is Birds of Prey and Suicide Squad. I know Suicide Squad's bad. I always have to say that just to defend myself. But Wonder Woman was a great movie. Like, I ain't gonna lie, it's really well made. It just doesn't like really appeal to me, I guess, so I don't rewatch it or anything. But these other two that I mentioned, I love those, and I guess I'm just a sucker for Harley Quinn. I don't know what it is, but in terms of the universe, oh god, it seems like they didn't really have a plan for. I mean, I guess they had a plan, but it just fell apart.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately Zack Snyder, I don't know if you heard, Zack Snyder's daughter, killed herself, which is like really
Oh,
tragic and sad. So he was sort of like the head of the whole universe at first, but I guess he had to leave the Justice League production because of that. So I guess that's why that movie fell apart, and because of that, everything since has just been, oh, we're just gonna make them all standalone movies. I guess that's what they're doing. I guess. So I don't know. It's just sad, unfortunately.
yeah. It's like I feel like it had so much potential, but ever since when I think of the DC now, I can't even think of the DCEU as a whole anymore. I can't because I always think of the movies outside of the DCEU as my favorites, like Joker and Dark Knight and stuff. So
Oh yeah, Joker was so good. Oh my god.
yeah, Joker was. Whew, I remember watching that movie with I think three of my friends that all have different opinions on movies, and we all stood up and we stood there for like 10 seconds. We're like, "Yo, movie was incredible." We all agreed on it, and it was crazy to me because I thought at least one of them wasn't gonna like it, and I was worried. And then we're all like, "No, the movie was perfect, nearly perfect," and it was just such a good experience because I don't know person that doesn't like it. I was so shocked to see so many people not like it online.
Yeah, I think they were just picking on it because they're like, oh, Heath Ledger's better or whatever, and it's like, oh, he's barely the Joker. Well, the thing is, it's an origin movie, so and it was really well done. I mean, I equate it to DC's version of Logan in a way. It's rated R. It's a one-word title. It's gritty. It's real. It's raw. It's visceral. That's just the way I look at it. It's like I put it up there with Logan in terms of like that good. And I really hope they continue with Joaquin Phoenix. I know, sequelitis might not be so good, but we'll see what happens. They might knock it out of the park if they make another one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I heard that they're interested in making a second one because uh, I don't know, somebody, I think Jaquan Phoenix wanted another one.
Yeah, they made. Yeah, Joaquin. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it made the most.
Hello.
Hey, we were doing good for a long while there, but yeah, of course it had to disconnect. Of course.
Yes. As expected, eventually it was going to happen again. But
Yeah.
it was a good podcast. We had a lot of stuff covered.
Yeah, you did a great job, by the way. I really hope you get big eventually and get more guests. And yeah, I'm
Thank,
gonna listen. I'm gonna subscribe and leave you a nice rating and everything.
thank you. I really appreciate that, and thank you for coming on. I really, really, really appreciate given the chance to speak to you about things like your opinions on film and stuff, and also getting to know a little more about the whole process. And your creative process and your thought process when making videos. I thought it was really interesting, and it was really fun getting to talk to you.
Thank you, and thank you for asking all the cool questions and talking about all kinds of stuff and me getting to nerd out and yeah, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I mean, it's really cool. It's first podcast, first interview, and there's never gonna be another first. So yeah, when can I expect this? Will it be up tomorrow or I want to
This
listen.
one, right? So it's
Yeah.
Tuesday. This one will probably be out Thursday because I did do another. I have another one that I edited. Editing. It's coming out tomorrow, and then
Okay.
I'll have one come out Thursday. It will be this one. So you can definitely. I'll send you the link right when it comes out, and tell you right before it comes out and stuff. Because I'll probably be excited right before I post. I always get excited before I post for some reason. But
Okay. All right. So yeah, once it's posted, I'll let my subscribers know and I'll let everybody know and then come listen to it and I'll listen to it too and listen to myself stammering and ranting incoherently about stuff and yeah.
all right. Well, thank you, and thank you to everyone listening. Whether you're here because you're a big fan of Tyler, whether you're here because you support the podcast, whether you're here because you're a close family member or friend. I always appreciate any support on anything that I do, and it's always fun to do things like this and have people interested in listening to it and watching it. So if you're listening to this right now, it's greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
And yeah. And that will be the end of the episode. And boom. All right, thanks for real, dude. It was great talking to you.
All right, you too. Thank you, Harland. I really appreciate this.
No problem. All right, see you, man.
All right, see you. Stay safe.
Yeah, you too.